You know, Justin Thomas is 77th in the FedEx Cup this season. He's played 3 major championships this year, 2 missed cuts and a 65th. It's easily his worst season, statistically, since he's been on the PGA Tour. But you know what? A win next week, it's irrelevant. All changes. Becomes one of his best years.
So true. So true. And it can happen. We know how talented he is.
When he saw his ball roll in the fairway bunker off the tee, Matt Wallace, he would have been thinking par. Would have been a great score. All of a sudden, this is for a birdie. Tremendous second shot.
Oh, it did get there.
I think that got a lot closer than he anticipated.
Yeah, I think the wind gave it a mighty shove from behind. Good par. Joost Luiten. Off that fantastic tee shot at 17. Beautiful birdie. Gets him to 2 under for the day. No bogeys.
Minwoo Lee is to get to 7 under par and jump inside the top 20. Were you one to widen your stance to brace yourself in the breeze when putting?
No. I used to stand with a very narrow stance, feet together, and basically I used to just lock my knees a little more. But also try and remember that I was actually below wind level because I'm vertically challenged. But these are the ones that are disconcerting when the wind is this strong. I can understand him just backing off just to clear his mind. There you go. That's wind. That is absolutely the wind has knocked that offline.
That's all wind, and I mean, bear in mind too, when you take the putter back, it feels like the putter's doing a figure 8 as well in the wind.
Absolutely. You sort of lose feel of the putter, don't you? The head's all over the place. Oh, it's frustrating. So frustrating. It's in wind like this that I'd like to be using a bullseye or something with a really narrow head. I wouldn't want to be using a mallet putter in this wind.
Our leading group has just got underway and they've all made pars on the opening hole. McIlroy, Kim, Fleetwood, Tyrrell Hatton. Tough day yesterday. 4 Rolex Series victories. He's 2 under through 4 holes for the round, 10 under and only 3 back. That 18th tee. Brutally difficult par 4. Hardest hole on the golf course this week, or second hardest?
Oh yeah, and today it's just a beast. Straight back into the teeth of the wind. Wow.
Well, this is a look overhead at the par 5 16th. As I said, they've moved the tee up over 40 yards today. Straight back into the teeth of the breeze, and still only the longest players will be able to reach into.
It's nice to see a par 5 that's actually a 3-shotter for the pro golfers, because we mentioned it earlier in the week. These guys now, a lot of them, especially on links courses, they're hitting their drive 350 plus. They can hit their 3 woods 300. So to make it a proper 3-shotter, you've got to go at least 700 yards in this day and age.
Well, just to give you guys a little bit of insight, the 10th is 594 yards, straight down breeze. It was driver wedge for Minwoo Lee, but today this is playing about 535 roughly, and it's still going to play really long.
We saw on Incy's point there, we saw Minwoo hit that pitching wedge 225 on 10, and 5 iron or 6 iron about 130 on 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is quite a brute. At least a 4-club wind, to say the least. So these 2 fairway bunkers definitely come into play today. You need to really look at hugging the right-hand side.
Wood 364 yards at 13, and the driver will probably go 260, 270 max here.
And that's if he catches it.
I'm getting ready, Tony. I'm on my toes. I'm on the move.
Yeah, perfect. Still able to create 183 ball speed into the breeze. That's ideal.
Smart move slowing these greens down to 9 on the stimp meter, because if they had stayed at even 10.5 where we started at the beginning of the week, they might all be sitting in the clubhouse right now, because the ball would have been moving around, I think, on these greens.
Absolutely, it would have. Thomas now.
Well, this par 5 is playing the shortest it can do, with the tees moved up forwards, pinned right at the front as well. Flat flighted draws perfect here on 16.
Oh, he's overcooked it down the left-hand side. Notice he teed the ball up very high there into the breeze, which is, you don't see that too often.
No.
Wait, so do you, honestly though, do you think this gets there?
Well, I don't want to hit 3-iron out of that stuff.
You just think 3-iron's not good out of it?
Yeah, I just don't. I know your lie is great, and maybe I just.
Okay.
Can you get it up?
Well, that's fine. Well, as long as you think it's really going to jump. I mean, it's been all week, so.
It's jumped every time I see.
Perfect.
Tony's caddy, John Ellis, that's there.
I mean, if
said,
it came up 50 yards short, I guess it's not terrible.
If you're into the wind, you're fine, right? You could pitch it all the way to the hole. I mean, if you want to hit 3-iron.
No, I mean, it's all right. If you
well,
really
it's
don't.
224 and it's 240 to the hole, so I realize.
That's the only thing I'm saying. Is I just don't want this to not really jump.
But if we pitch it.
I don't think it's going to roll as much as you think.
No, I know, but if it gets going, like your 7-iron went 200 yards yesterday from.
Yeah.
Here, feel the 3. Because I realize the lie's pretty good.
Yeah, the lie's good, but.
I was just thinking maybe a little off. But
So, yeah, now, so what I'm wondering is if this jumps, do you think this has a chance to be too much?
yeah, I do. I mean, essentially, I know there's blowing 1,000, but there's no wind out of there. Right?
I'll hit the 40.
If it comes up 50 short in the fairway, you're fine.
Okay.
Then you fly it 50 right into the flag.
well, we don't need to commentate, do we?
No. And John Ellis was desperate for him to hit the 4-iron there, wasn't he? Didn't like the 3-iron. I don't think he was convinced it would get up fast enough to not catch the grass and do a knuckle diver. Pretty good from where he was. Pretty good.
It's 50 yards short. I do find it hard to comprehend that a 3-iron would have gone long. One more club. No way it's going an extra 70 yards.
No.
All right. John Morgan. Excuse me, Romain Langasque, second shot.
Not too often we see somebody going in these days, in this day and age, with a metal wood into a par 4 and still coming up short.
I like it.
Just trust it. It's going to come out a little bit top spin, a little bit runny. Just a little coffee special.
Let's be honest, these players
Keep you want to get that spin down.
play in,
Absolutely.
generally play in excellent conditions. Golf courses are pristine, they're perfect. So to see them having to fight, scrap, it's good, it's fun for us.
Are we masochists? Are we sadists? But it is interesting, isn't it? Gonna give it a low driller here. Chaser.
That's
Ooh,
exactly the shot that he played, Tony.
nice
How
little
cool
sandy
is
bounce
that?
as well, Ewan. That's a great shot.
Yeah, that was fun to watch.
You know, we don't want the wind to get too much stronger, because we want this to keep going. We want it We want play. There are a couple of really exposed greens, like 8 and 13, mega exposed, and we don't want those to start causing us a problem. Thomas just gouging one out there with a metal wood, just trying to keep it in play. There's no chance of getting it anywhere near the green.
Exactly, he's just had to lay up and put it back into play.
Incy Minwoo hit a 3-wood 364 at 13, and he just pumped that drive 266.
It's quite amazing, isn't it, the power of the wind. It is Matt Wallace up next though from 279 yards. Got the players in the group in front still on the green. It's quite a tough ask though.
Where?
I think he's got the driver out.
I was wondering actually if he would go for the driver or not.
Yeah, I've got him. It's Wallace, yeah?
Must be a perfect lie.
Yeah, it's a good lie. It's not really a shot that many practice often. However, you come into a week like this, it's probably something you instill into your routine. He must be looking to chase this one. Got to watch out for the spine just short of the green though. He can have any sort of bounce.
You know what, if he got that straight landing on that downslope, it wouldn't have been too far away. Slightly awkward pitch landing on a downslope, but he's taking it on.
Should I see what three? I don't know. Three was going to get up in the air as well. I like this. I like this. I like this. Yeah. So we're looking at the camera tower to like get it. Yeah, I mean, like, I was thinking of the other broccoli tree, the flat broccoli tree. Yeah.
Well, the green in front is just clearing up. Minwoo Lee from 254 yards straight into the wind. It's a little bit downhill with your second shot, but still, it's a strong breeze out here. I'd imagine fairway metal, looking to hug the right-hand side.
Incy, he's got an iron out. This is going to be one of those famous Minwoo Lee stingers. Oh, he got ahead of it.
Spun out of it.
I think that was... We know he plays those shots really, really well, and even before he became a DP World Tour winner, that's the shot that made him famous via social media. But even then, he just tried to hit it a little bit too hard. I think he would have been better served using a wood.
He was in two minds, wasn't he? You know, we heard him say 3 it'll get up too quickly. Clark did very well out of that rough to get it to here, pitching back straight into the wind. Skip and bite on the second bounce. Nice, very nice.
Just received a text message. A friend of mine, an Australian cricketer, Matt Renshaw, is out here watching today, and he's an avid golfer, plays off 1 or 2 handicap himself. He said, how good is this, watching the players struggle?
He was out here, he's now down at North Berwick. got caught by a gust.
Big shut stance for Langasque.
Just so difficult to gauge how much it's going to grip. You know, even when you take a slightly straighter club face, will it grip? Will it skid? Will it run or won't it? It's all the indecision that's the hard part.
It was a good layup for Justin Thomas. He's got 2 clubs in his hands, just trying to figure out what feels better. Also helps with the whole visualization process. With 91 yards to go, you pitch this short of the green. It does slope a little bit front to back, but beyond it, maybe favouring a little bit left as well. There's a backstop. But in this breeze, playing from a slightly more elevated position, you can look to carry this all the way. Slam dunk, anyone?
Really well played. You know, He's had the 2 clubs in his hand all day long, but not so sure about that. Like, typically that tells me a little bit of indecision.
Well, I think the wind does that to you, doesn't it? Let's see if Loughton can make a birdie at 18. What a birdie this would be.
Good try. That's a good 9 holes, isn't it? Solid 2 under par.
Superb. You know, week in and week out, Ewan, we hear these guys, you know, they have specific numbers. It's 118 yards, but it's playing 121. And they dial it in and they can be specific, and so often they'll pitch at 121. But in this, it's more or less all the time. It's playing about. You'll hear them all day long. It's playing about 120. It's a bit of a guess, and then it's feel.
Well, you could almost throw the yardage book out today, really, couldn't you? It's pretty much all field. Taking a look at Min Woo Lee's ball.
Yeah, this could be quite fun. He's got just shy of 50 yards. Pitching this into a cross breeze. But from this angle, beyond the pin, you've got that backstop. It could catch it and spin back down, but I think the greens are a little bit too slow. But then if you land it short of the flag, it's going to take a big kick to the left and forwards as well. I personally prefer the aerial route, looking to carry this most of the way, take that big slope short out of play. And it's a decent lie too, so contact shouldn't be a problem. He doesn't want to listen to me, does he? Fair enough.
Whatever he's done, it's worked. He's played that absolutely beautifully, and a chance to make up for that short miss at the previous hole. Par putt ahead at the 18th hole for the US Open champion, Wyndham Clark. This to be out in 3 under par 32. Fabulous par and an excellent 9 holes for Wyndham Clark. Third shot for Wallace.
Not inspired by Min Woo Lee's tactics. Like I said, there's 2 ways to play it, and that's an awesome result.
Isn't it ever, Incy? What a great shot, just a kick-in birdie from Matt Wallace. That'll get him to under par for the round. Up ahead at the 18th, the Frenchman, Langasque, coming off a bogey at 17. It's for a par at 18 to go out in even par 35. Well done, good up and down. It's a really good 9 holes from this trio. 5 under par combined between the 3 of them in these conditions. Well, that leaderboard, look at it. It is getting very, very bunched. A drop shot at 2 for our leader, McIlroy, and he is in a share with Tom Kim at 12 under par, and Tyrrell Hatton, the big mover today, 3 under par for the round through 5 holes. 6 players within a stroke of the lead. Min Woo Lee, just to get to 7 under par, started 9 strokes behind our leaders. Knocks this in, he's only 5 back. Oh, that's 2 great opportunities in a row gone a-begging for the Aussie. Apologies if you've heard any untoward language there from Min Woo Lee. Golf will do that to you.
I have to be honest. I've never made an apology for players' language because I was a terrible potty mouth, and I just feel like it would be, I would just be too much of a hypocrite. So I'll leave that to you because you're much more polite than I am when it comes to angry golfers.
Well, no, let's just say it's pot calling kettle black, me apologising. Justin Thomas birdie putt.
to start this, what would you say, 4 inches left of the hole? And
Just too much pace.
Yeah. And there it is.
That was a good stroke.
A beautiful stroke. But you're expecting the wind to push it because it has done on the last few, and suddenly it doesn't do what you're thinking. Oh, it can drive you around the twist.
If I'd have had this many cameras on me when I was playing, I would have been broke very early on.
It'd be quite a thick file of finds in the archives, wouldn't they?
A lot of changes there, Tony. 6 players within 1 stroke of the lead now. Anyone on that first page could win it.
How is McIlroy going to cope with this wind? That has been the big question overnight.
You got to think it's a mental test more than anything, because he has the game. I know he hits it hard, I know he hits it high, but he grew up in these type of conditions. I mean, he should be able to cope with it. Loughton, it's been a clinic through 9 holes for Loughton. 2 under par, and it could have been a lot better. It's just been rock solid.
As long as it's hit, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, in the left, big stuff. But Tony, this trio, 5 under par combined through 9 holes. It's top quality golf again.
Quality of the highest order.
I can't believe how fortunate we've been. Golf that we've seen this week. Not one player in our feature groups through 3 days has shot over par. There's been a 62, 2 63s and a 64.
I mean, I can believe how lucky we've been, because you know what? There aren't 2 nicer guys on this planet.
That's true as well. And we're very modest.
I remember I was inducted into the South African Hall of Fame, Golf Hall of Fame, on the same night as Simon Hobday, who hated making speeches, and he went up to say his speech, and he had this piece of paper the size of a postage stamp and started unfolding it and just looked around and looked, and eventually he started his speech and said, "I'd like to start this by saying it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy." And when he finally finished unfolding the piece of paper, it was about 2 inches by 3 inches. One of the funniest men that ever walked on a golf course, Simon, the late Simon Hobday. What a legend.
Perfect tee shot there from Langask. Simon Hobday won senior major championship?
US Seniors Open.
US Senior Open.
And he had about a 3-footer on the last hole, and they said, "How did he feel?" He said, "I was too nervous to choke."
Scotty Scheffler, the world #1. He was treading water for 9 holes yesterday, and look at this, he's just 1 shot behind. He's finished in the top 10 in 78% of his starts this year, and that's only going to go up this week. Bob McIntyre, Grant Forrest, a couple of Scotsmen 3 and 4 strokes behind, respectively, wouldn't they be hugely popular victories? Harry Hall, the Englishman, rookie season on the PGA Tour, he's just 3 back. So many good storylines developing. Padraig Harrington, the 53-year-old. I sound like a broken record, but I want to see him in Rome.
He said after round 2, "I can hold my own with anybody in the world on a links course." He believes it, and he shows us he can do it.
And he's still playing well. He still has the passion, the enthusiasm, the drive. At Ryder Cup, his match play over 18 holes. Half of that alongside a teammate. His experience has got to count for a hell of a lot in that situation.
Tell you what, I'm seriously looking forward to doing the British Seniors Open at Porthcawl with Bernhard Langer. You know, the way he's still playing. Harrington, who loves links golf. That's going to be a treat as well.
Did Harrington win there a few years ago at Porthcawl?
No, Langer won the last one, I think, with the best exhibition of striking I've ever seen in my life, actually, in a gale. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know if Harrington did win there, but I mean, Langer loves the place. We need guys like Harrington to keep him on the straight and narrow because he's too good. Eric van Rooyen, 2 under. Nice to see Eric coming back into some kind of form as well.
Dan Bradbury, what a story he's been. Missed at second stage of Q School in Spain in October last year. The following week, got an invite to play in Joburg and won it to earn his DP World Tour card. You don't see that too often, do you?
No. And here's a thoughtful player. Unless he's a coffee guzzler, he's bringing one of those along for John Ellis, who's going to be very grateful. Now that's a nice gesture, isn't it? And why not? The man's a part of the team, a vital part of your team.
I'm going to give them another little plug here. Flat White, they've got a coffee van right near the clubhouse as well. That's got to be from there. Coffee is excellent.
That's beautiful, isn't it? That's classic. Now watch this man's face light up when he hands that over. Because one thing you do need out there at the moment is a warm drink.
No lid on the coffee either. Double parked on the coffee. Where is his caddy? Be hard to see him in there. The grass is that long. You know, he's 3 under par through 9 holes, Wyndham Clark, and he's been in this long grass more often than not. Oh, that was a strange move. I'm perplexed. Which is life in general, to be fair. Matt Wallace group waiting for Richie Ramsey. Garrett Higo in the group in front. '17th hole, the par 3. Of course, the Genesis vehicles up for grabs for the first player to make a hole in one here this week for the player and caddy. A great gesture from our title sponsor, and of course Joe Slouten about half an hour ago almost made an ace. Not bad when you consider that the average proximity to a hole is 47 feet, Tony Johnstone.
No, and I tell you, the one place you don't want to be in, see, that front left bunker is so deep, it's ludicrous. I had a look at it the other day, and I mean, my head only comes halfway up the wall of the bunker.
Yeah, I can believe that. No, it's definitely not a trap that you want to fall into. Got 190 yards and it's a perfect cross breeze straight across the right, and it's strong as well. You need to start this on the right half of the green. Everything slopes right to left.
Wow, look at that move. Goodness gracious, and that's with low spinning golf balls. It's just gone sideways.
Right around where Romain Langasque was. And is that right that the bunker lip is 4 feet high? You said you half.
Stop it, you two. Stop it.
You must be getting sick of it, Tony, for you.
Well, no, I
Brings
don't
it on
know.
himself.
I love it. You know what, NC, my dad was 6'2", 6'3", and my mum was a little Italian mama, about 5'1", and I got
So
her.
you've done quite well.
I got her genes.
Well, you would have thought if there's going to be a hole-in-one here today on 17, this is the pin that would give you the greatest chance of making one. If this pitch is in the heart of the green, it will definitely kick to the left, and then it trickles down because this flag's in a bit of a bowl as well.
We saw Joost Luiten pitch it just short right and come down to within 2 feet. Wow, that wind. Oh my goodness.
Well, it's 190 to the flag, 180 to carry the front pretty much. His 8-iron goes 180, so he's either going to work a 8-iron right to left to hold off a 7, or he's just going to hate it.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Oh boy.
Man, I've just done a little count on the yardage book. The yardage book, that pin is 30 yards from the right edge of the green, and they're starting at right to that green and missing 20 yards left. It's almost out of control.
I bet you if you asked the last time Minwoo Lee hit a 6 or 7 iron 50, 60 yards offline, he couldn't tell you. It would have been years and years ago.
Whew. Does that get into Matt Wallace's head, NC?
Well, you've got about 30 yards right at this flag. and both players have missed it out to the left. I know it's a strong breeze off the right, but you want to keep things simple, right? A standard neutral shot, right half of the green. The wind will do the rest. You don't want to fight it.
I should have said Justin Thomas's head. Now that's better. That's better.
Come on, catch the
Catch
slope.
the slope.
Do it.
Oh, you... No.
2 feet, Tony.
Oh, it was a beautiful shot.
And that putt's going to be 37 on the Stimpmeter.
And NC's right, 2 feet further left. That's a chance of a hole-in-one.
Loughton, that big tree might be in the way here, all lie dependent.
I mean, our lines are
Well, obviously had a good lie, hoisting it up over it.
right at the flag. Yeah.
Stay out of
Yeah,
it.
just the full normal one.
It's like the old wall of death they used to do in the circus, isn't it? With the motorbike around the cage. Just goes round and round, like water going down a plug hole and then finds the bunker, I think.
Well, Wyndham Clark's hit it a country mile, both in length and offline here. He's far enough away from the tree. Come down. This could be good.
That'll do. Well, he's walked up the middle of the fairway and now he's going off at a tangent. It was so far left. Well, he might get relief from the grandstands. At least he's pitching back into the wind. That's about... I wonder if they could use the backstop, the tier behind the green, run it up that and then back down to the hole. Might be a good way to go.
Potentially, and I'm sure Incy will be able to tell us more shortly, but there's every conceivable chance that it could take a while for him to get relief here because you've got the coffee van, you've got the benches, you've got a grandstand, you've got so many things going on down here. We could be here quite a while.
And that was long, wasn't it?
Is he-
Way long.
Is he still with us? He looks like he's walking off. Remember, he's had enough.
Dear, oh dear.
Where is he?
Oh, wow.
Incy, I'll take a double espresso, please, from that coffee van.
I was actually just thinking to do the same. It's getting quite chilly out here. I just had a look at the lie of Minwoo Lee's ball. It's absolutely fine. It just has a few, when I say a few, probably about 40 wooden benches in front of him.
And see, from where that ball started to where it finished, that must have moved the best part of 90 yards.
Well, I've just zapped the pin from the ball. It's exactly 50 yards. To be honest, it's actually very doable. It's a good lie. He's a skillful short game player. And then on this angle, beyond the flag, you've got that backstop. We already talked about the pins and a bit of a bowl. So you've got quite a bit of a insurance policy.
So Incy said he's 50 yards from the flag, and how far right of it do you think he started? 20 to 30?
Well, the right edge of the green is 30 yards from the flag.
So it's moved between 70 and 80 yards
I would say.
with a
I would
7-iron.
say. That's quite scary, isn't it?
All right, here we go.
You can definitely get quite aggressive with this one. You've got to pitch it all the way at least, if not beyond, and whiz it back.
Excellent shot. Oh. Keeping us entertained, Minwoo Lee.
Ooh, this stayed out of the sand. I was convinced it had wiggled its way back down into the pot bunker. That's a good break.
Speaking of break, watch this once it gets over the hill. Good effort, really good effort from the Dutchman.
A good lie for Matt Wallace. He's got a bit of loft in his hand. He can carry it all the way, if not bump and run it. Straight into the wind makes it a lot easier.
think you'd be disappointed with that.
Wyndham Clark out in 32 strokes on the back nine. Birdie putt here at 1, but realistically trying to lag it up there close. Too bad.
And see, once they hit that front nine, it's going to be a search for survival, isn't it?
It really is. It's only going to get tougher from here. 18's got to be, if not the hardest hole out on the golf course. But first things first, this putt for birdie for Justin Thomas, I reckon it's impossible to leave this one short. It's going to be absolutely rapid.
Such a good line. And such a good putt, yes. It's a couple of inches short, but that's a really good putt. Greased lightning down that slope.
Birdie putt, birdie putt up the hill for a mate like Gas. I love how quickly he plays.
It's quite brisk, isn't it? And everything, you know, his walk, his swing, everything, you know, it sort of relates to his personality. Everything is fast and sharp.
Wouldn't this be an exciting par from Min Woo Lee? Missed a couple of short ones the previous 2 holes.
I tell you what, 17th is playing the toughest hole on the golf course today.
Not for Joost Luiten.
No, but a par, that shows you how good a par is. And a birdie is a miracle. Averaging 3.41. Wow.
And it's the easiest pin position on the green as well.
By far. By far.
Wallace is to remain 1 under par for the round. It's been a good grind so far. Bit of a rough start, but a couple of birdies.
Beautifully done. Just gained 0.38 on the field.
Up! Get up! There's the wind. Oi!
Wind strong off the left at the second. Hair into their faces. Just the one bunker up the left at 309.
Yes.
Could take some smash to get it there today. We saw earlier in the week guys hitting irons off this tee, little hybrids. Driver the only choice today.
Our leader Rory McIlroy made a bogey here earlier. Not his best, but that shouldn't be too bad there.
What a brute of a hole. It's going to play really tough today. Matt Wallace with the big dog. That's the only club you can hit. Got 3 fairway bunkers that really come into play. Even that one on the right today will be a bit of an ask, although the tee's been moved forwards just shy of 40 yards. Definitely looking to finish this down the right half.
Listen to that wind. It sounds like an F-14 fighter jet going over our heads.
Will be interesting to see the percentage of fairways hit the first 3 days versus today. I would say 10 to 15% lower today.
Minimum, I would say. It's just so hard on these crosswinds to find the short grass.
Well, you can understand why they've moved the tees up. I mean, if they didn't, it literally would be a par 5. It's an absolute monster of a golf hole. Absolutely crucial to hit the fairway. The further down you go, the wider it gets.
Asking it to miss the 2 bunkers. Did he? Not sure he did.
Definitely need to control your ball flight here. Try and keep it nice and flat. Anything going up in the air is going to spin and the wind's going to slap it. If anyone's good at keeping the ball low, it's this man.
Oof, and looked like it nestled down. It's a brutal test, pure and simple.
Wyndham Clark, 8 under par. If he can get it to double figures by the end of the day, which is obviously going to be no mean feat in these tough conditions on the front side, he's got an outside shot. He has been in the long grass all day long.
It's like a wheat farmer, isn't he, out there? Thankfully, he's as powerful as he is, and he's managed to extricate himself just about every time.
Good swing there from Langask. How hard would it be today with the Simmons and Biladas? Like, could it be, in comparison to the equipment, what do you think? Today's equipment, 3 shots harder? 4 shots harder?
Oh, easy. I mean, if you were out there with a Belata today, you'd be pleased with the 77.
McIlroy and Kim have both made birdies on the par 5 third. Final day here at the Genesis Scottish Open. They lead the way at 13 under par. Hatton 3 under through 6 holes. You picked him at the start of the day, Tony. He was 5 shots behind. Bob McIntyre, the Scotsman, making a run. He's only 3 behind.
Expecting Lowry to produce something today. He loves the wind, loves the challenge of it.
Callum Hill going along nicely. 3 Scotsmen inside the top 20. And Ferguson just outside that.
Great work from Victor Perez. 3 under after 7.
Has there ever been a Ryder Cup side with 2 victors on it?
I doubt it. In fact, I'm probably a definite no.
Fair chance it'll happen in 2 months' time. Victor Perez, a Rolex Series winner in Abu Dhabi early this year. Ryan Fox, tough start for the Kiwi, 3 over par through 7 holes. Sebastian Soderberg going in the wrong direction. Daniel Hillier, a winner at the Betfred British Masters at the Belfry a couple of weeks ago. Matty Jordan will be playing his first major championship at his home course next week. Sammy Valimaki there at +5. Probably too far back to win today, I'd say.
Justin Thomas avoided the sand, which is a big bonus. If you hit it in one of those bunkers, you're just nudging it forwards and leaving a difficult third.
229 off the tee for Thomas Ince.
Yeah, it's not gone that far at all, and he's got 226 yards left. It's not a bad lie at all, to be honest. I mean, this fescue bent grass is quite light, especially the more brown it gets, the lighter it is. We might be waiting a little bit because there are players still on the green.
Goodness me, it's a common theme, isn't it, Ince? They've been waiting, it seems like, on every hole. Is that group in front, are they trailing behind, or is it just slow all round?
I just think it's slow all round, to be honest. It's such a tough day out here. It's an absolute brute. But it's not really ideal to be waiting around when it's this cold and windy, because then that body can stiffen up. Not ideal.
Barely right of the bunker.
Yes.
How is that possible?
It's just a grind. Romain Langasque second at the second. Good shot below the tier, but anywhere on the green for 2 here at the second. Very good.
Look of delight on players' faces when they're in the green in regulation.
Justin Thomas gripping it down on the shaft. I was going to say the steel, but it's the graphite. Oh, this is an excellent golf shot from Justin Thomas.
I think some applause from the gallery behind the green as well, because they might not have seen that many balls on this green into.
208 yards to go. I mean, this is playing at least 240, I'm going to say, straight into the breeze. If you can get it on the dance floor, that is a good result, because there's runoff areas just surrounding this pin. It's really difficult to hit. I'm going to say you're better off short than long. Just leaves you with a slightly easier up and down.
Low bullet, but right. Stay away, stay away. Okay, avoids the bunker. Quite a lot of green to work with. Not disastrous.
We've got just shy of 200 yards for Min Woo Lee. Looking to hack this one out. It's really nestled down.
No chance of reaching the green from that position for Min Woo Lee. Will be relying on his short game. Just starting to unravel a little bit for Min Woo.
You know, when you see some of the best strikers on the planet struggling like this, you know how tough it is.
Slout just asking Tony Johnstone to be quiet there.
Good luck with that.
Well, this is really the first time he's going to have to grind for a par, Yo Slout, 2 under through 10, and has just been rock solid to this point. And what he did there, that's what can happen on links turf when it gets really tight. But that too, that was a good lie in the fairway. a prime example of how and why he has struggled.
It must be mind-numbingly painful to have in the back of your mind that there's a chance at any moment that you could flat out duff a pitch or chip. It must be, I don't know what it must be like. And no surprise, after a duff out with a putter, before he got up there and saw the lie or what's facing him.
He's still a long way off the putting surface as well.
It's plagued him, absolutely plagued him his whole career.
When you're struggling with your chipping and pitching like that, it typically starts off with some type of technical flaw, but then it just compounds mentally and eats away at your confidence, as we look at Minwoo Lee at 18.
He's got about 80 yards, I would say. Once again, straight into the breeze. I think what he's been really good at today, up till now, is actually working out that playing yardage. And that's exactly what you need to do on a day like this. The raw number almost doesn't matter. You need to visualize that trajectory, understand how it's going to react. And if you pitch this on line with the flag, it will kick a little bit to the left. This is pure finesse right now.
Not his best. 17-18, taking its toll on the world's best. Scotty Scheffler birdied 17-18 yesterday when everyone was pretty much bogeying them. Fourth shot for Loughton. As you said, no surprise, putter out. That to avoid a double bogey.
This is a good lie for Matt Wallace, chipping up to an elevated green. You can have a nice square face on this.
Excellent. It's been a really good grind from Matt Wallace through 9 holes. He hasn't had his best stuff tee to green, but tapped that in to be added 1 under par.
You see that? The sand from the bunker was whipping across his face. He had a much better tan 10 minutes ago, just got sandblasted. Up the tier for Langask.
This is just a wee little breeze out here today for the locals.
This is an awesome second shot from that right rough, using a fairway metal. I said anything on the green was a good result, and this is breaking off the right all the way gradually, and towards the very end it will flatten up.
It's into the wind, so it'll affect pace, but it shouldn't really blow it. Shouldn't blow it offline, but look at that. Oh wow.
It can really make you feel quite silly sometimes.
Oh really, Incy? I mean, that's pushed it almost sideways, hasn't it? There is a little slope there, but wow. Clark. Nice looking stroke.
What's this second hole averaging, Tony? It's got to be up there near 4.5, doesn't it? Absolute beast.
4.24.
With a bullet. That's going up in a hurry.
Yep. Only been 2 birdies there today.
Minwoo now for par at 18.
This is going to be absolutely rapid for Minwoo Lee, breaking hard off his right to start off with, and even out the other way, right at the very end.
Slowly.
Half an hour ago, he had 5 feet at the 16th green to go 3 under par for the round. Misses that, he's over par through 9 holes. Speaking of over par, this is from bogey for Joost Luiten, number 2. That scoring average going up pretty quickly just here, Tony.
Oh dear, oh dear. It's quite hard to watch because he's a lovely guy, Joost. He really is. And to see him having a flaw like that in his game that unquestionably holds him back and doesn't match the rest of his game.
Well, the first part was pretty disappointing. This is straight up the hill for Justin Thomas for par. Not many pars out here.
That's not a good sign. The ball stopped and then actually blew backwards. I wonder if the officials will start looking at the potential for moving balls on the greens. Could hear him indicating there that the putter head's blowing all over the place.
Bogey putt now for Minwoo Lee, this to go out in level par.
Now where do you hit this after watching that one of Justin Thomas's?
It's definitely going a little bit left. Well done.
That's when you know it's tough, when you roll in a 4-footer and you feel like it's been a major success.
Well, still, even in these conditions, Minwoo Lee bogeying those 2 holes, Matt Wallace struggling tee to green, Joost Luiten with the double bogey there. Justin Thomas is the only player over par for the round. Out of our feature groups, that is. Good up and down from Matt Wallace. Huge crowds out here Sunday morning for the final round of the Genesis Scottish Open, the third of 5 Rolex Series events on the season, and Tyrrell Hatton has made another birdie to move within 1 of Rory McIlroy. He's alongside Tom Kim. Scotty Scheffler, the world number 1 right there. 4 pars to start the day for Tommy Fleetwood. David Lingmerth quietly making his way into the top 10. Round going for the day. Nikolai Højgaard, his twin brother Rasmus winning in Denmark last week. Xander Schauffele, the defending champion. Maybe a little too far back now at this point. Tom Hoge having a terrific season. Good round today from Victor Perez, Ben Taylor as well, the Englishman, rookie on the PGA Tour. Crocker, someone I know you're a big fan of, Tony, there, 6 under par.
Yeah, winner this year on the DP World Tour. Born in Zimbabwe, moved to the States when he was about 4, so yeah, he is an American.
Why did his dad, Gary, who was a Zimbabwean cricket legend, why did he move to the US? Did he move for work?
I think for work and maybe for, you know, prospectively for Sean as a golfer, but primarily yes, for work. You know, there's not too much future in Zimbabwe at the moment for anybody who's looking for work.
Tom Thomas Dietrich, 6 under 64 the first day. Tough day for him today. +3. Marcel Siem, what a season the 42-year-old German is having. Winner in India, runner-up in the Porsche European Open in his homeland. Top 15 on the race to Dubai. Lost his card back in 2019.
Kept the faith, didn't he?
Tough start for Sebastian Soderberg, sliding all the way down the leaderboard. +5 through 7 holes. Justin Thomas in our feature group coverage today. It's been a very difficult 9 holes for the American, 3 over par for the round.
Straight down breeze today for Matt Wallace. He's taken the big dog. I'd imagine today that fairway bunker on the right hand side shouldn't be in play. Probably looking to carry it. The pin's in that back section today. You just don't want to miss this left. There's an overhanging tree, could get in your way.
That has gone a mile, but it is in the rough, and I'd be surprised if he hasn't got to shape some kind of shot around that tree.
Well, this is going to go a country mile. As long as he hugs the right side, it's going to kick a runway. I might even get too close. There's a little switch over.
I think it might be my honour.
Might have just put him off, who knows? Justin Thomas will wait for Min Woo Lee. This wind direction definitely makes the tee shot a little bit easier. It just takes a lot of trouble out of play.
He's gone after that one. Absolutely nailed it. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Okay. A long way down. That's nearly down to that tree, only 10 yards shy of it, so shouldn't be a problem now.
Well, this is just going to come off like an absolute rocket.
Flirted with that bunker, but it's clear of it. In the fluffy stuff. I know one thing for certain, these guys will come off exhausted today, because you can't even relax on a 2-foot putt if it's crosswind. I wouldn't want to be carrying that scoreboard today. It'd be like carrying a sail off a yacht.
Have you carried one before? They're heavy. They're sneakily heavy. Got to admire them for carrying 5 hours out here.
Yeah. I mean, we have so many people helping out at tournaments, don't we? The volunteers, the marshals, the scoreboard carriers. I mean, you couldn't have a tournament without them, really. They do a wonderful job.
So much that goes into running a golf tournament, and you do it 40, 45 times a year. The production side of it, the volunteers, just the...
Well, you would know with that wonderful junior series you run down in Oz. You know how much there is that goes into preparing and organising a tournament at that level. Can you imagine these events? Oh,
Well, it's a 12-month operation.
Yep.
As soon as you're done with the tournament, you might have a week or two off.
Start again.
Start again.
Huge infrastructure. I think we had 137 buggies in our TV compound this week.
Yours was the hotted up one, wasn't it?
Little V8 we popped in there. They've learnt now. They give me the one that foot flat goes about 2 miles an hour. One thing I have noticed, you haven't seen too much of guys standing either side of the line trying to feel the slope in their feet and trying to aim putts with their fingers today.
Good
'Cause
point.
You're absolutely wasting your time.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you feel? How do you feel what a 40-mile-an-hour wind's going to do on the greens? So hard.
Par 5 third hole. Romain Langasque second shot. Downwind. Pretty much everyone in the field can reach this green today.
Okay, you'll be definitely looking for a birdie. Easiest hole on the course. Averaging 4.56, but that is not where you want to be.
Couldn't tell if it got through that long grass. If it did, found himself on the 4th tee. It's actually not bad.
The only par 5 on the front nine, you have to try and make use of it.
Just feels like every single approach shot we've seen has been from this long grass today. Good lie, obviously, for Loughton because he's waited for the green to clear. Remember, he's coming off that double bogey at 2.
Oh! Thankfully, no contact with the spectators. But that is in knee-height stuff.
The first hole, the 10th of the day for this trio, playing downwind. And will be very interesting to see if both Wallace and Thomas will have any tree trouble at all, Lindsay.
Yeah, it's definitely in his way. We mentioned that big overhanging tree during the tee shot. He's going to have to keep this one low and get quite creative. And definitely looking to pitch as short of the green. There's a lot of undulation here. It's going to go up and over, break off his right. So it's doable. You can get this close. Just need to land it in the correct spot with the proper trajectory. Looking to chase this one.
Had the idea.
It just looked like to me the club really slowed down in the rough there.
Yeah, it didn't look like he got the strike at all, did he, Nancy?
Humongous tee shot from Wyndham Clark at the par 5 third. Has taken it up and over the trees. Coming off the bogey at 2. He could make an eagle here. It's going to be tough to hold that one, but certainly a great opportunity to make amends for that bogey at 2. Justin Thomas now at 1.
Yeah, he was far enough down there to not be bothered by the tree. And he's played a goodie.
But he's played it with a sand wedge with height, and it's still released 50 feet.
Yeah, and that first green all slopes away from front to back. Doesn't make it any easier. He's done well there.
Yeah, this isn't easy. There's an overhanging tree on the right-hand side as well. He's going to look to take it over this. 114 yards, didn't get the strike. Oh, it's just nestled through it. the tiniest of gaps.
Well, he was aiming for that gap, I'm pretty sure. That club head can't have gone more than 2 or 3 inches past impact. It just got caught up in that long grass.
Oh,
And there it is, yeah. Great camera follow there.
Ooh, missed that top branch by centimetres. That's a bonus.
You take all the breaks you can get, because generally the ones
Yeah.
you do get are bad.
Are bad, especially in these conditions. You do feel eventually like you're just being punished all day.
Third shot for Loughton.
It had to be a throw-in. Yeah. Just like 7 would be like, get a great in front of me.
It's like a field of barley.
Am I exaggerating in that it just seems like every single shot, Wyndham Clark, Joost Loughton, Minwoo Lee, Justin Thomas, Matt Wallace, they're playing out of the long grass
All day.
every hole.
It just seems like that. It really does.
A lot of work to do for Matt Wallace, putting from the very front edge. And this is a double breaking putt once again.
Yeah, I'll put him up here.
Hard tough to gauge the pace, Incy.
Really tough. I mean, you're putting straight into the breeze. It's a little bit uphill. You've got some humps and hollows in your way. Anything else to make it a bit more difficult? And the greens have slowed down massively compared to day one, and of course that's purely to set the course up for the breezy conditions we were all anticipating. This is braking heavily off the right to start off with, and it's going to swing off his left. And it's going to gauge some speed as well, right in that last 8 feet or so.
Just stand behind, please.
This would be a 2-putt of note. Picture on the screen doesn't really do justice to the amount of humps and hollows and twists and turns.
That's an excellent effort from Matt Wallace. It's just so difficult to lag it up there to tap in distance. Almost impossible, and he's done it. Langasque. Third shot here. He looks like he just got past the really long stuff, Tony.
Yeah, you were right. Gave him a great opportunity to do that. Tasty pitch.
This is a really tricky part. It's one of those, you've got this big back to front slope at the back of the green, so you know this is going to move hard off his left. But the more break you take on, the more speed it will gain, and the more it will move as well. It's not the birdie part you'd ask for. It's all downhill as well. Plenty of movement.
Excellent try, Minwoo Lee.
Be pretty pleased. I mean, I know he's disappointed the putt didn't go in, but he'd be pretty pleased with a par. It's been an adventurous hole. Wyndham Clark. And just a yard or two on the green. Let it feed down that
Come
slope.
on.
Ooh, it nearly stalled, didn't it?
That wasn't easy, but a good chance there to get to 8 under par for Wyndham Clark. Justin Thomas looking for his first birdie of the day. Hasn't had a reason to smile yet. It's saying that. I'll give him full credit. He's 3 over par for the round. Very easy for him to throw the towel in at this point, but toughing it out.
It's the sort of day that usually you'll find somebody loses the plot completely and shoots 80 plus. Doesn't look like it at the moment, thankfully, because it can just get away from you. Confidence can go. Wiring short circuits inside the cranium.
Par for Thomas. +3 on the round. Birdie putt for Loughton, quick one.
Really just setting it in motion, and it's going to get there comfortably. Stop.
Well, speaking of short circuits in the cranium, has to all be going on inside Joost Loughton's head right now. You know, it's the middle of summer here in Scotland. The locals just reveling in this warm weather. Shorts.
Clark for the birdie. He'll be disappointed if he doesn't make one. This is a par 4 for him off that drive. Beautiful.
Yes. That's the 5th birdie of the day in these conditions for Wyndham Clark. Just a stroke outside the top 10. US Open champion. Oh, how his life has changed.
Answered a lot of questions, didn't he, in that US Open? You know, you sort of down the stretch, you're thinking, can he keep it together? Well, he showed us.
He's a lovely guy, and knowing that the crowd all wanted Rory or Ricky to win. A gas birdie putt, under par for the round. Little fist pump.
You don't see that often, do you? Fist pumps from 4.5 feet.
Well, it matters because everything is just that much harder today. Speaking of which, when the players and caddies are waking up, it's 18 in the second hole, which they're probably dreading. It's such a tough hole, but it's been moved up 50 yards, but that bunk on the left is still in reach.
When I watch Matt Wallace's golf swing, got a good break there. I just can't fathom how he's 161st in driving accuracy, because everything about it is pure.
It just looks like he should keep firing arrows.
He's definitely one of the most methodical guys out here, I think. Matt Wallace. Up next, you've got Justin Thomas. With the driver, once again, it's so important to hit the fairways. You end up in the rough, you've almost got no chance of making par.
Good swing there. Tony, just very quickly, we notice he tees it up very, very high into the breeze. We've been told, or maybe Incy, this is one for you, we've always been told, tee it down low into the breeze. Do you think he's teed it up high, hovering the club to try and stay more level and cover the ball?
I reckon it's a fair point. I was actually speaking with Sean Foley early this week, and he works with Pyonan An, who shot 9 under, I think, on day 1 or 2. And he was saying the most important thing is setup, but you want to de-loft the club at impact, but still stay nice and shallow. As soon as you get steep on the golf ball, you start hitting it down. It pinches the ball up in the air and creates more spin. So it's a really difficult thing to do, but you're looking to try and stay wide and shallow whilst de-lofting it.
Yeah, good point. Minwoo Lee might have been a little bit lucky there. Far enough wide that might be a decent line.
Yeah, just on the edge of the crowd walkway, wasn't it? Could have been a lot worse.
Bold play for Wyndham Clark, driver off 4. You've got to shape it left to right. Wind will help him do that.
Easy. Hooray!
And wind off the left as well. That's going to push it into the deep stuff yet again. And hitting the fairway on the previous hole must have felt quite weird for him. He's been in that stuff all day.
Liam Gallagher out here watching. That is Liam Gallagher. Is it? Oh, no. Or, oh. What's the story? Morning Glory. Joost Luiten, driver on 4.
Yeah, really good.
Likes it. Oh, it's a beauty.
You know, Wyndham Clark's ball has finished up about 30 or 40 yards from our television compound, and I'm looking out the window now. I think he's going to be far enough up. He'll be fine.
Really?
Really? Wow, that's amazing.
Wow. Big changes here on the first page of the leaderboard of the final round of the Genesis Scottish Open. Tom Kim, he was third here last year. The 20-year-old is now your outright leader at 13 under par. Rory McIlroy has dropped a shot at the short par 4 fifth, and he's alongside Tyrrell Hatton at 12 under par. Scotty Scheffler's dropped a shot as well. But it's anyone's event, and I still like my prediction of 11 under winning. And if that's the case, Wyndham Clark at 8 under par, he's got 6 to play. He started 8 shots behind. Get 2 or 3, sit back, have another coffee, and wait.
Anybody who's under par today is producing some serious golf.
Spoke to Ewan Ferguson last week in Denmark and said to him, looking ahead to the next couple of weeks, they're predicting cold, breezy, showery conditions. He said, is it a myth that the Scotswomen love going and playing in that? You thrive on it? And he said, we're just like you. He said, we want warm, sunny conditions. He said, I don't wake up and go, oh my gosh, it's raining, I'm going to go and play golf. Olesen, tough start, couple over par for the day, as too is Ricky Fowler. I think Ricky Fowler's got a good chance next week.
Yeah, nice to see him back and riding the crest of a wave at the moment, isn't he? And you can see visibly he's just enjoying playing golf again. For a year or more, it looked like no fun at all.
Julian Brun going along nicely. The Frenchman, 1 under par through 8 holes. There's our ball positions at the second hole. 2 balls on the fairway, very unusual. We haven't seen that at all today, really. Matt Wallace, Justin Thomas, perfect. Minwoo Lee, way off to the right. Incy, is he okay?
Yeah, the lie's not too bad, to be honest, Ewan. I'm just trying to open my course planner. It's so difficult to do with all this breeze we've got, but he's got 165 yards to go. Like I said, straight into the breeze. 144 to carry the front. The thing is, the ball sat down a little bit and he's got a good clump of grass that's going to go in between the club face and the ball, so it's definitely going to take the spin out of it. But when you're playing into the breeze and looking to land this on the uphill slope, it's probably going to kill it a bit.
Me, JT?
It's been a
Should be.
common sight today. NC Justin Thomas standing with 2 clubs in his hand trying to make the decision.
Yeah, it should be Minwoo Lee to go first, I believe.
It is.
165. I'm struggling to see this carrying all the way. It's got to pitch short and drive it forwards up the slope.
Yeah, gouging it out of there. Massively de-lofting the club. Oh boy, it's a mental grind, isn't it? Knowing that you're just going to be having difficult par attempts on about every hole.
Yeah, the player's going to feel absolutely knackered by the end of today. Cheeky little pin, anything short, there's a bit of a false front, so it's going to roll back down. He's got 162 yards to go. It's just playing at least 195, I'd say. 5 iron, if not a 4. You're better long than short.
Club twirl, but it wasn't a happy one. You know, you get into a mental situation where you know if you can just play the last 9 holes half decently, you're going to double your check, but at the same time, you're thinking, please God, get me out of here.
Yes.
End this pain.
For Matt Wallace from this angle, playing from the left from 160 yards, if you're going at the pin, you don't have much room right of it, and there's a big runoff area.
It's pretty similar to the beautiful swing he made on the par 3 14th. And that's a gorgeous shot. Frenchman, Romain Langasque. I like watching the way he plays golf. He plays at such a wonderful pace of play.
I believe he was by himself, he'd have played 27 holes by now.
75.
Or he'd be on a nice bottle of Bordeaux. The latter would be more appealing in these conditions.
Were you a quick player?
Yes, absolutely.
I left a snail trail.
Yeah.
I was like a wounded tortoise.
Probably want to land on
10.
10.
Yep.
6. I went long and right.
Yeah.
I was very impatient. I could not stand all the discussion once players got to the ball and over the ball and the over-analysis. Just make your mind up, please, hit it.
I was quite quick with the decision. Once I got over it, just turned into a bundle of fidgets and twitches and
Breeze off the left.
Field in there.
86. What do you think we play wind-wise?
Just off the left.
Okay.
oh,
A little shy there for Mountain.
with a bit of helping wind, I'm surprised it stuck that quickly. I think he is too.
Let's see where Wyndham Clark's ball has finished. I just assumed he was far enough up where he'd be fine, and he is. All lie dependent here.
Sit.
Instant shout of sit. Is it a flyer?
Ah.
Yeah, but not a mega one.
That's a decent miss, but disappointing to miss the green just with sand wedge in hand.
Just in the right frame.
Well, that gust.
There's no doubt at this point he would be thinking finish 10-11 under par. And let's just wait and see how that finishes. Minwoo Lee now.
Playing into a bit of a cross breeze straight off the left.
That finished so much further away from the green than I thought it would. What a terrific shot from Minwoo.
It's really hard to believe that he's only won 2 DP World Tour events, Minwoo Lee. He's just such a star player. He's got all the qualities you'd imagine.
I was there interviewing him on the 72nd green when he won his first one at the Victorian Open down in Australia. He had his sister Minjee there because that was the combined male and female event, and Minjee went within, I think, 2 or 3 shots of winning the female Victorian Open. His parents were there. It was a very, very special moment. There's going to be many more, Incy.
Absolutely, I think so. His mum and managers out here as well. And he was saying that Minjee Lee's going to come out to the Open next week, and it's a week off and she still can't get enough. Now, Justin Thomas, this is tough. Definitely short-sided. Going for the low route. He's done that a couple of times now.
Yeah, that's definitely the right play, and he's played it quite well. He's definitely trying a variety of shots here, which will stand him in good stead next week at the Open Championship.
I love it. Romain Langasque, long birdie putt at 4. Minjee Lee in a share of 7th, heading into the final round over on the LPGA Tour. Lynn Grant, the Swede. Have you had the opportunity to see her swing the club?
No, I haven't yet.
Oh, she's won, I think, 5 or 6 events on the LET in the past 18 months. Her golf swing is as good as anyone's in the world, but 6-shot lead for her going into the final round.
Actually, I'm lying. I have seen her swing.
She won the Scandinavian mix
Yes,
last year
exactly.
by 8 or 9 shots, I think.
I mean, just demolished the field, and her swing was a talking point, and it is a thing of beauty.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I was following her that year when she won. It was absolutely incredible. It just felt as though, you know, women's golf was pretty much on her shoulders, and she carried everyone through and held herself together. Now, Matt Wallace, this would be an exceptional birdie. Breaking subtly off the left, but with this breeze, it might move a little bit more. Makes it difficult to judge.
Only been 2 birdies here today, this for a third. And to move 2 under par for the round.
It's easy to say, but if you can leave yourself putts that are straight into the wind or straight downwind, it does make a difference. Crosswinders, whoa, hard work.
That's a very poor shot. That was holeable for Wyndham Clark. Had the flag out for that exact reason.
Too much loft.
We see it all the time.
You know, from there, a little 8-iron, a little, just keep it almost along the ground, the way this man is trying to do with some of his chips. In this wind, getting it airborne is a fatal error.
And next week at Hoylake.
Yep.
Par putt for JT. Right to left movement. Well done. He's still giving every shot, every ounce of his concentration. Now, someone who's accomplished what he has, it'd be very easy to give it the who cares, let's just get out of here.
Proper pro. He's had a lot of good putts today, Mamuli, that have scared the hole and not gone in, primarily because of what the wind's done to a lot of his putts. I don't think he'll have a problem with this, though, for his par.
Well done. Great up and down. And it's steadied the ship. Bit of a rough stretch there on holes 17 and 18. Joost Luiten over at 4, birdie putt to get to under par for the round.
It's amazing how many putts we've seen, not that one, but how many putts we've seen miss the hole by 2 and 3 feet with this wind. You know, you've just got to accept it's going to happen. You get a gust and suddenly your ball's 3 feet left or right of where it was headed.
Scoring's actually a little bit better than I thought it would be. That's a 3 putt for the Frenchman.
Oh, it'll test your patience.
Par 5 third hole, 600 yards. We've seen it play very differently all week long, and today straight downwind, those tall trees on the right hand side there. Wyndham Clark, he just airmailed it straight over those and only had a short iron in. Fairway bunker on the left, certainly more in play today. Most players can reach that downwind, but it's just very difficult once again to find the short grass off the tee here, Tony, because you really do have to shape it quite significantly left to right.
Yeah, you really do. The super power players, as you said, can blast it over the trees on the corner, but that in itself does have some risks. Oh, this is different, NC.
Yeah, taking the driving iron out, looking to play this down the left towards that bunker, but of course short of it. I mean, with this wind direction today, the par 5 is playing really short, so even laying back, it's definitely reachable in 2.
Yeah, and absolutely not wanting to go in that lone pot bunker on the left. That just everything just feeds into that bunker. You could be 10 yards away from it and it ends up in the bottom of it. So smart play. Make sure you get it on the fairway though with the iron. Which he has. Good play.
Let's jump up to the 4th green. Clark for par. Good save. Really well done.
He's putted unbelievably well considering the conditions.
He has, and like we spoke about earlier, he wouldn't be too used to putting in conditions like this, playing in general, but putting certainly.
No. And the pace of the greens. Be quite foreign to him. 9 on the stimp meter. That's slow for the Americans, certainly.
Different strategy for Justin Thomas here on the par 5 third, taking the driver instead of the driving iron. You need to be a bit more aggressive with this line, taking it down the right, but it needs to be a high one.
He is aiming this way right, Incy.
And hit it way right.
Oh, well, that's Sherwood Forest in there.
If you're going to take it over those trees, it's got to be a flasher, a high flasher. Oh, it's been found, and it looks to be left of the trees. He might have had a break here.
Well, if anyone can cut the corner, it's this man, Min Woo Lee, with a driver in hand once again.
Well, he's hit a big pull. Oh, he's gotten away with it.
What a break that is. He doesn't know it, but that is just mega break.
Well, that's going to be no issue for Min Woo Lee there.
Par 4 now.
Short par 4 fifth, but straight back into the teeth today. Wyndham Clark, big stick out. That looked like a better golf swing, certainly more controlled. Still not on the short grass, but that'll be okay. He won't know what to do now.
Yes. Split the fairway. Perfect. New leader Tom Kim, 1 under par. Look at Tyrrell Hatton go. 4 under after 9. We hear Tom Kim's in a bit of bother on 7 though. We'll see if he can extricate himself. Rory McIlroy, an indifferent start, 1 over after 6. We know he hasn't got a great record in high winds, but there's a long way to go yet. Eric Cole, son of Bobby Cole and Laura Bow, became Laura Cole. He's got some seriously good golf genetics. And what a year he's having, a breakout year. Sean Crocker, Lee Hodges under par. Honestly, par or better is wonderful today. Harrington, wow, 53 years old, holding his own with the youngsters. Gask we're seeing out there at the moment in one of our feature groups, along with Lawton, both even par. Garrick Higgo, nice to see him playing well again. Came out early in his career, had a couple of great DP World Tour wins, 1 in America, and then gone off the boil. Victor Perez was going a little better. He was 3 under at one stage, now back to 1 for the day. Marcel Siem, what a wonderful story that is. From the depths of despair to being a winner again on the DP World Tour. This is Dale Whitnell. Won a couple of weeks ago in Sweden. And nobody shooting really big numbers out there, which is admirable because it's tough. Clark, just a little squeezer, trying to pitch it all the way up and stop it dead. Good shot.
Great shot.
He might just pop that one in too, the way he's behaving with the putter. Well, that just tells you everything, doesn't it? What this wind's doing. Majority of the field missing the fairway left.
Want to be coming down just left of that right trap, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Same club again, NC, for Wallace, same as the tee shot.
Yeah, it was definitely the more conservative play, but I think the smart play off the tee with this wind direction. It's got 317 yards left to this back left pin. I make it as 285 to the front, but you're looking to land this short and chase it down there. The whole green does break from right to left.
Gonna hit a slinger from right to left here. Try and get it trundling. Has he overcooked it? He has. If it had been straight, he would have had the firepower.
In regards to who's going next, it's pretty tight between Justin Thomas and Min Woo Lee, but I reckon it is Thomas to go first.
Well, obviously Justin Thomas got away with it from the tee shot.
Big time. It's actually a really decent lie. Could have been so much worse.
How far's Min Woo got, Incy?
Min Woo Lee's got 258 to go.
258, so he hit wedge from 225 on 10. This should be an 8-iron, 7 or an 8-iron.
I don't even want to call the club. On 14, his caddy Stuart asked me, do you know what we hit on 10 for the second shot? I said, pitching wedge. I said, "Aye, guys are pretty good." Definitely looking to chase this one as well for Min Woo Lee. I think they're both in decided who's going. Yep, Min Woo is ready. Definitely looking to hit this in the right half of the green. The wind should knock it down, and the shape of the green. Bit of a clunky strike maybe.
Got to make use of a break like you had off the tee and just miscued it.
The problem is you're trying to land it so far short that if you don't land it in your landing spot, you leave a very difficult pitch. Now Justin Thomas.
What a break. Missed the trees, missed the long rough, missed the little bits of gorse, and got a lie.
Yeah, just a huge break. It's just trying to rain a little bit here. Flat flight out of that lie. Oh, just skirting. I think it's caught up in the bunkers just short.
Well, the left side is getting a workout off the tee and the second shots at 3.
Short par 4 fifth, third shot for Loughton. The DP World Tour's Twitter account posted a video of Min Woo hitting that pitching wedge into 10. It's already had 150,000 views, and the comments under it, no way he hit pitching wedge from that far. Can't hit pitching wedge
We
that
can
far.
tell you he certainly did. Oh my goodness. You should be walking, my friend. You should be walking. This is walking weather.
Look at him going backwards.
If he turns around, he'll be in Edinburgh in 10 minutes.
Big putt here for Clark. This to get to 9 under par. Club's been a bit of a magic wand today.
Yeah, he certainly can't complain about his performance on the greens. It's been stellar.
Speaking of stellar, it was a stellar approach from Langasque. 3-putt at 4, just to get that straight back here at 5.
He tried to bully it into the hole, didn't he? Try and take a bit of break and wind out of it. Tried well, but not to be.
This bunker shot Incy from Matt Wallace looks brutal.
Yeah, it's a good lie though, Ewan. The only thing is, it's always difficult to judge the distance from this sort of lie, I would say. As soon as you have more loft in the club, it's very easy for the leaning edge to get into the sand and just kind of strike it a bit heavy. So you've got to be precise with that strike.
I thought it was going to be brutal, and it was. That was Knife City. Found more long grass. Loughton up ahead at the 5th for a par. We said this front side was going to play harder. Loughton exemplifying that. That's 3 over par this side. And the head's off for the Dutchman.
It's a horrible feeling with those putts in this sort of wind where you really just feel like it's a guess. Horrible feeling.
67 yards for Justin Thomas, and this isn't a pretty lie either. Ball sat down, and you've got to be looking to land this at least 20 yards shy, if not make it 25, and it's going to release. Pins at a bit of a bowl as well.
Steep angle of attack, trying to get as little grass between club and ball as possible. It's going to be a swift one down into the bowl, but you know what, beggars can't be choosers. Tough position to be in.
Yeah, a yard further left, Tony. That would have been perfect. A nicer lie for Minwoo Lee. 53 yards to go. 63. Can't count. So Minwoo has to pitch this just short of that little bowl that I was talking about. One bounce and it will trickle down. You hit it a couple of yards right of the pin. It should break off his right too. It's an appealing shot. Watch this get better and better.
Good.
Oh yes. For a second there I thought it was going to be rude and stay above the slope. That is a beauty. Obviously heard exactly what Incy said.
Par putt from Wyndham Clark. Get your attention, these little ones in the breeze.
And suddenly the putt has behaved. It's been great. Everything's going. You just have one of those that does that to you because of the wind, and the doubt just starts flourishing, doesn't it?
Oh, it's so frustrating. Minwoo Lee, great birdie. 3rd birdie of the day, 5 under par, 1 under on the round. And as we've said, anything under par today is really good going. Let's take a look at that 3rd shot again, just as Incy Mehmet drew it up.
For a second there I thought, don't do that. Creeps over the top. I mean, just inch perfect. Here's another beautiful little shot.
Wallace
Stop.
has played some terrific recovery shots today, hasn't he?
He's an excellent chipper of the ball. Chipper and pitcher.
There was an event that he won on the DP World Tour just a few years ago, and I remember he held this miraculous pitch shot from over the back of the green, bumping it into the bank. He had no shot. Hold it.
Yeah, that was a magnificent shot from Matt Wallace. The ball was seriously nestled down, so great touch around the greens. Justin Thomas. This is for birdie. This is going to be absolutely rapid once again.
What a putt from Justin Thomas. First birdie of the day for the American, and he's grinding this out. He wants to get it back to level par for the round. Incy, I just ducked outside for a minute. It's very, very chilly.
Yeah, it's not too bad when you're walking around. But if it starts raining, I reckon the combination wouldn't be too pleasant. And then I'll be very jealous that you're in that commentary box.
Yeah, it's been fairly pleasant in here. There's no wind in here at all, I can tell you that.
Quite a lot of hot air though.
As long as it's not your air, Tony, we're okay.
Firm and positive, Mr. Wallace. Inside right.
Oh. How many lip outs are we seeing? That's 3 in the past 10 minutes.
This is where the patience kicks in, or ought to.
And he'd be just infuriated. Par 5 downwind. There are barely any realistic scoring opportunities out here today. That's one of them. He's going to drop a shot provided this goes in.
Yeah, that definitely feels like a double bogey. Ouch.
Do not ask for a selfie. Into the 4th. Langasque. Narrow stance at 6. Trying to knock this one down. In a way reminds me, I know you mentioned Victor Dubuisson, which is identical to that golf swing, but the way he plays reminds me of Lowry, in that you can tell they played the same way when they were 15 years old.
Yeah. And that's a good shot on that stunning little par 3 6th.
The locals just loving this summer weather.
Oh, the crowds here are just so knowledgeable, aren't they? Clark, it's only 140 yards today, the 6th.
All right, good shot.
It would have been years since Wyndham Clark had that short a follow through on a 140-yard shot.
140 yards, and every person that makes par there today is going to be delighted. We need more short, tricky par 3s that make you think. 7th hardest hole on the course, only 2 birdies at 140 yards. You've got to love it.
And it's been designed this way too, to play back into the prevailing breeze.
Yeah, it's a gem, a diamond.
That was right over the flag for Loughton. Okay, we'll test his short game.
I'd put my money on putter.
From the rough.
Yep. I really feel so sorry for Joost. That one critical weakness in his game that takes its toll. Thomas out with the driver at 4.
Try and shape it with the breeze from left to right around the corner. He likes it. Big hit.
I'd say he loves it. Beautiful strike.
Oh, and hold out.
Oh no. Sprinkler? Sprinkler. Whew, I nearly had a heart attack. So I'll start look at my book. Where's that bunker? Where's that bunker?
It's either the smallest bunker that's ever been designed in golf or a sprinkler. Pete Dye's designed some not too much bigger than that. Minwoo Lee driver as well.
Oh, of course it goes straight.
Yep, aimed it there, trying to slide it left to right.
Should be fine if it's just there.
Wallace coming off that very, very disappointing bogey at the par 5 third. There's 2 left.
There's a bunker down the left. That will be in play, but that's still better than being in the pot bunker.
I've never seen less fairways hit from top players as I have today.
I agree. I agree.
Well, we've had another shuffle at the top of the leaderboard here in the final day of the Genesis Scottish Open. Rory McIlroy looking for his second Rolex Series victory has moved back to where he started at 13 under par. He's now 1 stroke ahead of his playing partner Tom Kim. Tyrrell Hatton's dropped a stroke. He was at 12. He's back to 11 under par. Tommy Fleetwood, a model of consistency today, all pars at 11 under, coming off his 63 yesterday. Big move being made at the bottom of the leaderboard there from Nikolai Højgaard, 9 under par. Shane Lowry going in the wrong direction, a little surprising. And a good round today from Englishman Jordan Smith, who had a hole-in-one on 17 here last year. Max Kiefer having a quietly good week inside the top 15, as so is Tapio Pulkkinen, the Finn. We didn't see the second shot of Yo Slouten at the par 3. It wasn't a great one. This for another par save. Avoids another drop shot. Well done.
Yeah. 140 yards and you're walking off there with a sense of delight with any par.
Well, Wyndham Clark sailed his first putt past the hole here at number 6. We know Minwoo Lee hit a pitching wedge 225 yards on the 10th hole. Rory McIlroy hit a driver on their next hole, the 7th, 427 yards. So it's going to be interesting. Wyndham Clark's longer than Rory McIlroy. I can't wait to see how far he hits it up there. And coming off back-to-back bogeys, he's going to have steam out his ears.
And every other orifice. Ouch. That's a stinger. Quite a spread, isn't it? When you get these crosswinds. Balls all over the shop.
The lie's not too bad for Matt Wallace. Definitely wouldn't want to be Minwoo Lee though. Wallace has got 160 yards, his back right pin. It's going to be quite challenging to get this one close. You've got quite a big false front. And it's a perfect cross breeze from this angle off his left. Anything past the pin, it runs away from you as well. So it's quite a small target, really. When it's this breezy in between player and caddy and they pick a line, you've got to take into consideration your starting line, your landing line, and then your finishing line. Because once you start it on a particular spot, it's going to move in the end. As soon as it lands, it's going to move once again.
Incy, no change in wind strength, still the same as it's been?
Yeah, I think When we were in our 4th hole or so, it kind of picked up to 4 club wind. I reckon right now it's not far off the same. It's really blustery out here.
Well, I can tell you it's a consistent 26 miles per hour out here, which 45 to 50 kilometres an hour that is, and definitely gusting up to about 40.
Even out of what looks like a semi-decent lie, that wiry fescue. And it doesn't sound like Minwoo got anything better.
No, I was looking at this lie and I was just thinking, can he? You know, he's not a particular large stature, but he does generate a lot of speed. And from 144 yards, even if you get it near the front, that false front is going to make that ball come backwards. It's going to be really difficult to get this out. I mean, you've got no control whatsoever at impact.
I'll tell you what, Incy, we know there are big crowds following the leading groups, but you've got superstars in this group, and it's a great opportunity to get up close with these stars, isn't it?
Absolutely. Especially for the spectators right now, being this close to the ropes. They're probably absolutely loving the front row view right now. This is going to be challenging to muscle out.
See, he hovered the club there about half a foot off the ground at address, gouging it out, but not enough.
Not a bad thing to have missed that bunker though.
Langask at the 7th. Mentioned that McIlroy half an hour ago just hit it 427 down this hole. Did you ever hit one 427 in your long drive days?
Not off the top of the Empire State onto a runway downwind. No.
Second for JT.
From 104 yards, you need to pitch a short left. About 102 is your number. Strong cross breeze.
Delightful sounding strike. Oh, yes. Oh, stop. Still a very good shot. Time for him to pop one in.
3 over in his last 5 holes, Joost Luiten. On the tee at 7. So difficult with that left to right camber to keep it on the short grass.
Just having a look at my yardage book here, Ewan. It's a 505 yard par 4. And if Rory hit it 425, he must have had about 50 yards to the front edge.
I'm interested to see where Wyndham Clark hits it, because his average ball speed's about 5 miles an hour higher than Rory's.
And he's angry.
Hit it straight, Wyndham. Come on. He hasn't hit many straight today.
Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness. Stay fairway, stay fairway, stay fairway. Ah, that's unlucky.
I've got him off the top of my head as hitting 3 fairways today, Wyndham Clark. Bob McIntyre, the Scotsman, has moved within 1 of the lead the final day here of the Genesis Scottish Open. What a popular victory it would be. He led by 2 strokes last week in Denmark with 6 holes to play. Made a triple bogey at the 13th, ended up finishing 4th. He's been playing some terrific golf, 4 top 7 finishes in the past 5 months. Been great. It's just Eagle 10 would be great to see him win, as too would it be many of those other players. Tyrrell Hatton's made a birdie to get within 1.
Looking to bump and run this one. It's an awkward one, flirting with the side slopes.
Good shot.
can see that chip and Justin Thomas's little wedge, how much the wind pushes it away from the hole.
Yeah, this is quite a challenging shot, I would say, for Minwoo Lee, because he's on an uphill slope. Yes, the lie's pretty good, but you land this short, you're pitching it on an uphill slope, which will kill the initial bounce, but you carry it too far down, it starts to slope front to back.
Oh dear. Trying to squeeze that low, keep it under the wind, but it's come out like a rocket, hasn't it? Comes in at such a flat trajectory in relation to the putting surface. That was the plan. They just overcooked it. You can see the frustration is evident.
Yeah, it's always difficult to get a ball stopping when you're chipping up to an elevated green, because as soon as it hits the putting surface, it's landing in a much flatter angle, isn't it?
Correct. And see, what a test of patience this is.
It's testing my patience as well. It's an amazing watch. It's just so fun because it's really forcing the creativity of the players. And there's so many different ways to pull it off as well. There's no textbook answer here.
I didn't know if you were referring to the conditions or your fellow commentators that were testing your patience.
This is a challenging putt for par for Minwoo Lee. Back up the hill now. It should move to his left to start off with. Putting back into the breeze too.
Good man. Good man. It's a bit of a relief, really.
That has given that stroke back that he picked up at the third.
Yeah.
Level par for the round.
You know, when you get irritated and things are going wrong in these conditions, very easy to lose the plot.
Oh.
And suddenly it's a double and you think, oh, okay.
Absolutely.
And then it just compounds itself, doesn't it?
Well, it's so energy sapping anyway, playing in these conditions, that the more you get frustrated, you've just got no chance of keeping it under wraps.
I'm just seeing a hair of left to right for Justin Thomas here, but with this breeze, it's going to exaggerate that break a little more.
For back-to-back birdies, Justin Thomas, yes!
Oh, that's beautiful, wasn't it? I mean, you know, without the wind, that's probably a left edge putt. He's hit that a foot outside.
And that gets him to within 10 of the lead. Has he got a chance?
You nearly hooked me there. You nearly hooked me there, Porter.
But in all fairness, I've loved watching the grind when he could have very easily thrown in the towel.
No, it's been a thoroughly professional performance. You expect that from a player of his caliber.
Look at that leaderboard in the background there. McIlroy's dropped one at 8. He's back to 12 under par. We've got a 3-way tie. Bob McIntyre being one of them. I count 9 players there within 2 strokes of the lead. He's made some good par saves today, Wallace. Coming off a bogey at 3. Excellent putt. He's got a lovely putting stroke.
Yeah, a bit of momentum, good.
5 holes to go for that trio. And that's how things stand as we speak here, the final day of the Genesis Scottish Open, the third of 5 Rolex Series events in 2023, and a 4-time Rolex Series winner, Tyrrell Hatton, started 5 behind. He's tied with McIntyre and McIlroy. Then Tom Kim dropped one at 8. He's 1 behind. 12 under leading. Nicolai Højgaard 9 under, playing the last. A birdie at 18, finish at 10. Wouldn't be going anywhere. Langasque second at 7.
Come on, put the brakes on. Put the brakes on. Do him a favour.
Maybe just got by almost just a little on.
Yeah, I love that.
A decent shot. Can you imagine the buzz that's starting out there with McIntyre tied for the lead?
Just a little right of it.
His second for Loughton. I think that
Obviously,
finish
moving a hair
last
to the
week
right, but you
of
want
Bob
an error on that
McIntyre
right side.
is going to be beneficial for him today.
I think you're right.
That'd be a
You know,
pretty
he's
good
won
spot.
before a couple of times. We'll get back to that in a sec. Thomas at 5.
Around the 270 mark where this should pitch, it really gets quite tight.
That looked like it started off very low. And a long way right.
Bit of a miss hit, I reckon, Ewan.
Yeah, it might have been bottom groove at that one.
I mean, normally this is a drivable par 4. It's only, well, I say it's only 330 yards, but straight into the breeze, it's playing its full yardage and more. Matt Wallace with the big dog as well. It's quite a quirky green. You just want to put this in play. Swing it easy when it's breezy.
Good swing there. Actually, I know we've spoken quite a bit about the old equipment. Matt Wallace and Eric Van Rooyen, there's footage on the DP World Tours YouTube page and social media of them in Abu Dhabi a few years ago using the old equipment and dressed in the old apparel as well, and it was fun watching them try and hit the old clubs. Really goes to show just how difficult it was to control it. Minwoo Lee with an iron in hand, a little surprising.
Yeah, he's got a 2 iron and a 3 iron in the bag. So this has got to be the driving iron.
This will
Maybe
be the
we'll see
stinger,
this-
isn't he?
Yeah, maybe we'll see the stinger here.
Man, he generates some speed, doesn't he, at the bottom? I think he's had enough of visiting the long grass. Find a few fairways now. Only a short iron in, really.
Going a little that way. But yes, it should be a little on the left.
Maybe just left edge.
Exactly. I was going to say, it's almost straight with everything.
Well, we don't need to say anything, Tony.
Well, I reckon it's almost straight. Slow back into the wind. He's got to give this a real thump. It was just about dead straight, wasn't it?
He had to flush that to get it there. We didn't see his second shot, but we saw Langasque's. It's so difficult to hold the ball on the putting surface, even with a lob wedge, sand wedge. Langasque not wasting any time.
Good one.
Well done.
Renato Paratore used to be renowned as the fastest player on the DP World Tour. I think his title's been taken by this man. Catches us out sometimes, doesn't it? We're still watching the previous player, and here comes his ball.
It's hard for the camera people too when they've got to rush from one side of the hole to the other. Remember Romain Langasque won the amateur championship at Carnoustie in 2015. He actually defeated Grant Forrest in the final. That earned him an exemption to play the Masters in 2016 as an amateur still. I believe on Sunday, he made the cut, and I believe on Sunday he shot 32 the back nine as an amateur, which as it stands is still the low back nine for an amateur at the Masters.
Oh, that was the forewarning of his talent. Yeah, tough when you've got that helping wind to be aggressive. It's a good putt. And a good par. I think there'd be a few of these lads going back to the room for a nice afternoon's sleep after this, because it is mentally exhausting, isn't it?
And especially the ones playing next week, you want to conserve all the energy that you can. Now it's going to be tough out there at Hoylake. Good par from Clark.
How positively has he putted today?
He exudes positivity with his body language as well, even after a couple of drop shots.
$102 yards for Minwoo Lee.
Like, I don't want to hit like on 9 and just kind of hit that.
I think 110 Lure is good, but
I think it's okay, hey.
But I think it's on the short for sake.
Yeah, okay, alright. So just like nearly a full one. Right. Straight at it?
Yes, yeah.
And standing on this fairway, it just looks like there's no room to land it, because there's a big false front short, you've got a big dip that goes away long. You've only got about 4 yards beyond this pin if you're looking to carry it all the way, so small target.
Oh, that's a faceful. He's got to carry this all the way to the flag. And he hasn't. And now you've got sand in your eyes, sand down your neck. Ugh.
What does sand taste like, men?
Oh.
Gritty.
Quite gritty.
Justin Thomas, he's got a bit of a break from 96 yards. I'm not really seeing this as a shot where you're looking to carry it all the way purely because of the lie. He might do, otherwise he can land it short, try and drive it up the slope.
I like the sneaky recordings with the mobile phones in the background. Oh, just that thing's gone through the wind like a knife. Must have got a... No, he's got a flyer out the rough, hasn't he?
Has to have.
Oh my goodness. That's gone miles.
Matt Wallace, 3 birdies on this 5th hole so far.
Yeah, just going back to Justin Thomas there, I mean, that's exactly why I was saying, why not just land it short? I just think with a bit of a jumpy lie, it's so difficult to control. Matt Wallace's ball is currently on the paint of where the spectators cross through from one side of the fairway to another. I can't see him getting any sort of ruling for this.
There's just so much feel involved in these. You can work out your yardages and your distances, but ultimately it's down to how do I feel like hitting this into the wind?
How did you feel playing off paint? Your ball's lying on paint of the crosswalk. Did it ever cross your mind that it might affect the shot?
No, not really. I mean, I don't think I really hit it long enough to reach the crosswalks, to be honest. But
what about after you chipped out to the crosswalk?
Well, I mean, then that counted. But we on the DP World Tour, we always got a free drop of paint.
Matt Wallace waiting for a ruling. So we head up to the 8th where our other players are waiting. It's just a lot of waiting. We may as well wait as well.
Not much option.
We'll wait
really
for these players to wait.
We knew it was going to slow down today because there's just so much more to contend with in these conditions.
Wait home for you.
Yeah, that's the idea. Especially when you've got that cold wind.
No, but because your ball's on the line, on the paint, the old paint line, we are going to give you a play.
Oh, right, okay. So only going to touch it.
But you are. You can have it.
And what is it? Just line of sight? I was going to, because it was normally you can go back as far as you want when it's in that thing, but you just
only went over paint. Like a goal.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a club land.
a couple.
Yeah. So from obviously you've got to it's not stance, so you're going to get more club out. You wouldn't be hitting it that way, would you?
No
line.
No.
Yeah, so expand that.
I really thought the lie was good enough. I definitely wouldn't have bothered in getting a drop, because sometimes you can drop it and then ends up in a worse spot, but I guess the spectators would be trampling along that line. But again, personally, I wouldn't have bothered. He's got 70 yards left to this flag. Once again, just pitching this straight into the breeze. He can fly it all the way. It's just, what do you fancy? Do you want to land it short, try and drive it up the false front? Or do you want to carry it all the way?
I think you've got to take the risk of that false front out of it if you can. Especially into the wind. Pitch it over the crest of the ridge, skip it forward a bounce and then check, and he's just carried it a bit too far.
The final round of the Genesis Scottish Open, the third of 5 Rolex Series events for the year. Tony Johnstone. Tyrrell Hatton started 5 behind today. Who did you say would win?
It might have been Tyrrell Hatton. I don't want to get big-headed, but it might have been him.
What a round he is playing. Low round of the day, 5 under par through 12 holes. He's got the drivable par 4 13th coming up. Incredible play. 1 ahead of McIntyre and McIlroy.
So wide open though, isn't it? So wide open.
Tom Kim's bogeyed 8 and 9. He's back at 10 under par now. Excellent round from Nikolai Højgaard. 900 not going to be enough.
Tommy Fleetwood only 2 behind.
All pars for him so far.
All pars. He can suddenly get a run going.
Justin Thomas after that flyer. This is his 3rd shot at 5, the par 4. Decided to go the aerial route with that one. He's been along the ground all day, and well played.
It's going to be really challenging controlling the pace of this putt. We're talking about that false front. A steep uphill and then just flattens out, putting back into the breeze.
Good effort. Nice work from Minwoo Lee. Should be a safe par.
It's another one of those, a little double breaker, moving off his right to start off with, but probably enough pace to put it through the break, and then towards the end it's definitely breaking off his left. A little bit uphill, but down breeze.
Par for Wallace, even par on the round. Minwoo Lee, even par on the round. Justin Thomas, 1 over par for the day. Just a grind, just a real battle. Front 9 playing harder, no question about that. Yet Justin Thomas, 3 over on the back and 2 under on this side. Remains that way, good up and down. Four holes remain for this trio. Finally, Langasque ready to go at the 8th. He's been moved 37 yards forward today. Joost Luiten went out in 2 under par, looked rock solid. And he struggles this side, 3 over par on this side, 1 over for the round. Tee shot at 8. Yeah, still swinging it nicely. It's really just the... that's up in the left rough. Really the inside 50 yards been his Achilles heel. Wyndham Clark, 1 under on the round, teeing this down low, back into the breeze. Watch how much he loads into his right side here of the backswing. Oh, so much power. Could this be fairway number 4 of the day? Yes, it is. Sneaky long from Romain Langasclair as well.
This is the most glorious little par 3. I think we all fell in love with it the first time we ever saw it. 140 yards. And you better play a perfect golf shot. Those bunkers, the 4 bunkers around the green are all deep and sheer-sided.
Of course, the DP World Tour excited to announce the launch of the Nearest the Pin this week, a new game for fans to be played both on-site and at home this year, bringing you closer to the action on the DP World Tour. Rules are simple. For each of the 5 game featured groups, select 1 golfer and the distance that you think they'll hit their shot from the pin on the 6th hole throughout the week. And you can play today by scanning the QR code on the screen or by visiting dpworldtour.com.
It's a brilliant little hole, one of my favourites out here. 140 yards straight into wind. The flag's not moving, it's because it's sheltered from the grandstands. It's got to be a chippy A time for Justin Thomas.
Yeah, those grandstands and that stand of trees on the left do some weird things with this wind. Have a look at the flags up on the flagpoles compared to the flag on the flag stick. It's a big difference. A lot of guys tending to go long, hitting it through that wind.
It definitely makes sense going a little bit long than short because there's less trouble beyond this pin, whereas anything short, there's loads more undulation that can come into play, especially if you go bang on line with this pin. A good 8 paces short of it, there's a big swell, it could really knock it off. So you're looking to pitch this at least pin high.
Wallace has played some delectable shots into the wind today. If that's where we think it is, that is well left. Clings on.
I've got a question for you guys in the box. Is it an upside down saucer or saucepan?
Saucer.
But a saucepan will do. Similar shape.
I can't really tell the difference, to be honest. My producer's just told me that he doesn't trust my cooking skills. Don't blame him.
And see, this is, it's a delight, isn't it, to see a little par 3 like this that asks so many questions. And there is a way to do it. If you play the right shot, you get the result.
Couldn't agree with you more. Speaking of cooking skills, Min Woo Lee loves the phrase, let him cook, and that is coming backwards mid-air.
Yeah, look, I mean, the thing I love about this hole, looking at it from behind, if you wanted to, you could hit a little 4 or 5 iron and fly the ball 70 or 80 yards and just run it up there.
Probably 8 different ways you could play that shot. Yeah, you give a 230-yard par 3 with a massive green. There's one shot, it asks no questions.
Yep.
Postage stamp, think of the postage stamp.
What a great hole. I think it's the don't know if you've played Doonbeg, about the 14th at Doonbeg, the 5th at the Hinch, another couple that spring to mind.
Well, they're always the memorable ones, aren't they? The
Yeah.
short par threes that are a proper test of your skills.
Royal Melbourne, Kingston Heath, 10th at Kingston Heath.
Royal Melbourne, is it the 5th?
5th,
Because they play the composite when we
yeah,
play there.
5th in the
which
composite, uphill.
I've always said to Mike Clayton, who we know is a tremendous golf course designer, the most perfectly designed par 3 I've ever seen in my life. That
brilliant,
hole.
isn't it?
When we played there, every time I finished the hole, I stood there and held up my playing partners because I just stood in awe looking at the cleverness of Alistair Mackenzie's design.
So it will be like Dubai, here, Abu Dhabi, and let's say Wentworth, and then you are counting in the racket.
I think we heard Romain Langaskin, caddy, discussing their shot there in French, but it's, you know, Sloughton ready to play.
They've moved the 2 tees up well up on 8 and 9, 37 yards on 8, 60 yards on 9.
Downhill lie, thick rough, into the wind, going uphill, long iron. Easy.
Well, try and work this one out. Oh dear. That's purely the grass wrapping around the club head, shutting it down.
Short par 3, 6th hole. Justin Thomas closest at 35 feet, so all 3 players with their work cut out to make pars.
And with Minwoo Lee to go first, this is an outside chance for birdie, just shy of 50 feet. It will be downhill, breaking off his left, but putting back into the breeze, although this green is pretty well sheltered from the grandstands.
You saw Wyndham Clark down there, he knocked it way past the hole. Pretty much like that, just about
Carbon copy, wasn't it?
duplicate, yeah.
Second at the 8th for Romain Langasque. Even for the round, Tony.
You're not translating the French discussion then.
Ace Caddy was saying it's playing about 3 clubs longer. Try and flight this down. Play it about 25 feet left of the flag. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
That's some,
Yeah, I love it.
that's some flag, isn't it, for these conditions?
Well, this putt is a little bit uphill to start off with, and then it's going to be absolutely rapid, breaking off his right. Overall, quick putt.
Come on, beauty.
Matt Wallace's lag putting's been very, very good given the conditions.
You know, you and I've highlighted all the arrows and the slopes on that 6th green, and there's virtually no white left on my page. The whole green is slopes.
Wyndham Clark trying to keep the ball down. Sand and grass and dirt in the face. Good for distance, but just pushed it. Thomas now at 6.
Another reason why I liked players going beyond this pin, it leaves you with an uphill putt.
That is a fine effort. Great try.
You would have seen the Brewdog bar in the background there. Tony, one of the pioneers of the craft beer industry in the UK. They had their own TV show about 5 or 6 years ago, Brew Dogs. They've made $1 squillion, the Brewdog boys. And rather popular amongst the patrons here.
I would say. That long putt from short of the hole has caught the guys out, hasn't it? It's obviously quite a bit quicker than it looks. Maybe they think the wind is going to affect it more than it does.
Great stroke.
That's a fine two-putt.
Well left of the green here. Plenty of green to work with for Loughton. Conventional grip, Tony.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Out of this longish stuff, maybe he feels he just can't hit it quite hard enough with a cross-handed.
Stay there.
I'm wondering if I hit a flop and let the wind take it, or hit a low one.
Because he has discovered that cross-handed is way better for him, but out of the fluff, we haven't seen him do it today at all.
Wyndham Clark, that's quite a steep upslope
Wyndham next year.
where he's standing there. He's got options. He can flop it on the green, he can bump it into the bank. He's got a good lie. I think if he had a bad lie, he'd be bumping it. Looks like he's got a sand wedge out. I just hope with the sand wedge that he doesn't try and bump it. If you're going to bump it, go with lower loft.
Like you can fly it past the flag and it's not really going to go anywhere. Right? To the right?
I actually like the flag.
Yeah.
Wyndham and his caddy John Ellis, they're very vocal, aren't they? They really discuss everything to the nth degree. Here we go, Clark. I'm sure he'll be flying this on the putting surface. Oh, well.
Well, I think I heard John say if you get it past the flag, it's not really going to go anywhere. Well,
I'm not sure what he was looking at.
no. I'd have to disagree, because that's gone into a horrible place down there.
Well, he was 8 under par, and I said if he gets it to 10, he's got an outside shot. Now he's got to get up and down to remain 5.
The 7th is definitely going to feel a little bit easier today. It's straight down breeze, otherwise would be a long par 4. Justin Thomas looking to go first. And there's a fairway bunker right in the middle. It's 302 yards to carry. I don't think he'll be a problem today. It's going to fly in this breeze. Just got to be watchful for the one on the left. And that's 334 yards to reach. So a little cut would be ideal, but a lot of players do tend to run out in the rough on the right-hand side.
Yeah, the fairway does bank off that way. And even in calm conditions, I think more players miss this fairway than hit it.
Where is that? Can't see where that finished. Rory hit one 427 down here.
And it's 420 to reach those 2 pot bunkers down the right, which we haven't even mentioned, because why would you?
I was going to say it would be quite fun to try and work out who's hit the furthest ball down here. If you get the right kick, it can seriously run on. The clouds are getting a little bit grey, the wind's picking up. Matt Wallace trying to flush this drive.
Incy,
Ewan,
got a question. If the clouds are starting to get a bit grey, what colour were they prior?
lighter grey? White? They're just a bit darker, they look heavier.
Any rain out there as yet?
Well, earlier it tried to spit it down a bit. The rain did its best to make an appearance, but the wind is saying I'm not having any of it and just kind of blew it out the way. Now Minwoo coming down with a fairway metal instead, so still should be able to carry this bunker in the middle though.
Yeah, let's see where this one finishes, NC. 364 yards. He hit a 3-wood back on the 13th hole. 302 past that fairway bunker, which is about 1,000 yards behind where the ball is now. That's insane.
302 over the bunker. He carried it by, well, it wasn't even in our picture, was it? Okay.
Fourth shot for Clark up at the green at 8. Steep upslope here. Good try. But
done so much good work on their first nine, the back nine. It's just got away from him, hasn't it? Bogeyed 1, bogeyed 5 and 6. Best he can make is a bogey here at 7, or 8 I should say. And Gask tickling it up to hole side, nicely done.
He's a steady player, isn't he?
Solid.
Even par today, could have been a couple better. Really couldn't have been too much worse. Just does his thing, gets on with it. No fuss.
You don't really see a glaring weakness, do you?
No, he's a really good guy too. I enjoy having a conversation.
He looks demonically serious, doesn't he, on the golf course? And he's just not. He's a good lad. Got that intensity, that golf intensity when he's in competition, though.
There's a lot of good French golfers now. Years ago you had Marc Farry, Greg Havre, Gregory Bordet, but now there's a lot of them. Antoine Rosner, Julien Brun, Julien Guerrier. Who have I missed?
Of the current crop.
Oh, Victor Perez.
Victor Perez, yeah. There's a lot of fine golfers. Quite a lot of good golfers in the sort of 70s and 80s. And then there was a bit of a lull in
Raphael Jacqueline I missed as well.
Van der Velde.
John Van der Velde. Loughton. Par putt.
Look at the trouser legs. I'm trying to work out how much that wind is going to affect a putt is... I'm sorry, but it is a guess.
I'm just thinking of good Dutch golfers. Robert Jan Derksen. He was the original Robert Rock, wasn't he? Never wore a hat. Good player. Winner out here.
Rolf Muntz.
Rolf Muntz won a British Amateur, played in the Masters. I played when I started my pro career 20 odd years ago. I played a mini tour event in America with Rolf Muntz. He was winding down his career but still grinding away.
This remarking thing he does is a joke.
Reminds me, Tony, sorry to cut you off there, Wyndham Clark, the way he does his, sets it up, then backs away Jim Furyk.
Yeah, good point. Just for a bogey. Come on. Will be 3 bogeys in 4 holes.
Obviously unsettled. Well done. Well, I've been waxing lyrically about Rory McIlroy hitting at 427 down here. Justin Thomas said, hang on, I'll just hit at 428. Min Woo Lee said, I'll just hit a 390-yard 3-wood.
This isn't ideal for Matt Wallace. It's in the cabbage, unfortunately, so most likely going to be a hack out.
427 yards, 13 yards off a quarter of a mile.
It's insane.
It's frightening.
Just be quiet, Jack.
Right, he's got to use his noggin here, Matt Wallace.
And in years to come, Tony, he'll be telling people it was uphill and into the wind.
Absolutely. Is that wall troubling him, Nancy? I think she might have walked on that wall. Ooh. Okay.
Oh, he's done very well to get that on the green, hasn't he?
Amazing shot, yeah. I thought he was going to chop it over the wall and 50 yards down the fairway. His caddy looks mystified. How did you do that?
I mean, it was pretty impressive that. As far as hackouts go, that was top tier. Smart shot for Min-Woo Lee off the tee using the fairway metal. He's only got 120 yards left. The pin's located kind of in the mid-left section. Anything just right at this flag should feed down. The whole green slopes right to left.
Well, the 2 3-woods that he's hit off the tee today at 13 and number 7, 364 and 390. So he's averaging 377 with 3-wood.
Oh. God,
Now,
you got a little chunky.
final hole for Romain Langasque. Difficult par 3 ninth, back into the breeze. They've moved the tee up. What did you say, 40 or 50 yards today?
60.
60. It's only playing 172.
That's left edge of the green.
And a very popular spot all week over there on the left-hand side.
Well, I actually went up to Justin Thomas and I said, have a guess how far you hit that drive. And he said, 430 yards. And I was like, oh, you're 2 yards off. 428, but you got Rory McIlroy by a yard. So he was pleased to know that. And we've got 81 yards to go, just about missing that bunker, which I didn't even realise would be in play, to be honest. Everything kicks down off the right, but good 3 yards left of this pin. There's a runoff area too, so definitely eyeing up the right hand side.
What he's trying to do, but slow down. Goodness me. Well, I'm sure our DP World Tour statistician team will get onto it, but I cannot imagine there's been a longer drive than 428 yards all year long.
Very doubtful. It's crazy, isn't it? Get on these powerful winds on a links course, it can happen. Loughton. Final full shot. Wow. It's just sliced through the wind. Oh, another 10 minutes. Joost, you can breathe a major sigh of relief and go and relax and have some lunch. I think he's played that exactly the way he wanted, you know, and it's just gone like a hot knife through butter. Through that wind. Does that affect Clark's thinking? With how he plays it? Shouldn't do. You've got your plan.
Lapping, I think, is that it, just on the right edge of the green over there, just in line with the leaderboard? Yes, it is. A little short.
This is a really challenging putt. Straight downwind, and this is breaking hard off the right as well. It's going to gain some speed too. It's not a putt you practice often, that's for sure. It's one of those you almost want to try and miss it on the high side.
The difficulty level was high. He's done reasonably well there.
You can see Justin Thomas just covering the cap. It's so windy. Earlier today it was making me cry. Putting straight into the breeze, breaking off his left.
Break. Slide right, go on, come on.
Just pulls up so quickly at the end into the wind. From over the back of the green at 9, cross-handed for Loughton. Okay. Cannot wait to get in the clubhouse, Hughes Loughton.
It hasn't been an awful lot of fun for the players today, but I have to say it's been quite a lot of fun for us, and I'm sure it's been quite a lot of fun watching it at home, watching a completely different type of golf.
It's definitely the windiest day today compared to the last 3 rounds. This is going to be pretty quick as well. Downwind, downhill. The whole green cambers right to left too, so it'll take the break, that's for sure.
Go. Go. Tony, I think it's great because half the field are PGA Tour players this week who don't get to experience these conditions. And you come over here and you play 3 days in relatively calm conditions, and links golf with modern equipment. They're snacks, these golf courses, for these players. So to have these conditions and really test the players, this is how they were meant to play. It's great they get to experience it. Langasque birdie on his final hole.
Nice putt. Nudge that in for a round of even par. You might just mark it and wait. Hasn't it been a delight though, commentating on links golf again?
Absolutely. Par putt for Wallace. About to say how well he's been rolling it.
You do get to a point where you basically just accept, well, I read it the best I could, I put the best stroke on I could, the wind did what it could, there you go, let's move along. Sound pretty philosophical, don't I, for a guy that was normally at boiling point in these conditions.
Interesting today that the back 9 is certainly the scoreable 9 of the two. Justin Thomas out in +3 on the back 9, but he's -2 this 9. I think the camera foreshortening the distance here. This is about 4 feet and it's not a gimme.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful grinding session, hasn't it, from Justin Thomas. Really, just things got away from him early on with the bogey at the par 5 10th, his first hole.
Long birdie putt, the par 3 9th, his finishing hole for the US Open champion, Wyndham Clark. That is miles short. Plenty of hearty souls braving the elements out here today. Just a standard Scottish summer day. Loudon for par. That's 5 over par on this side for Loudon, after looking so in control for 9 holes. And it just makes it even worse when it's your last 9 holes of the tournament. You know, you did so solidly for 63 holes, and then, not that you threw it all away, but it feels that way anyway.
He's hit these with authority all day. He needs to do it again here.
Good putt. Really, really good putt. That's a round of even par 70 for Wyndham Clark. Was 3 under par for the round, dropped 3 in the last 5, but still a commendable effort. Romain Langasque. This also for a round of even par 70. Well done. Good playing from the Frenchman, very solid. Three birdies, 3 bogeys, the rest pars. Just reliably being informed by our producer at 447 yards, the longest drive, the history of the DP World Tour. Nicholas Colsaerts at the ISBS Handle Wales Open back in 2014. And he did that with a 2-iron.
This is by far the windiest it has been right now. I mean, one of the spectators, he's pushing a pram uphill into this wind. I don't think he's going forwards, he's almost falling backwards. I can just about stand as well. Justin Thomas with the driver in hand. He's been moved up forwards by about 40 yards. Got to watch out for those fairway bunkers, so looking to hug the left-hand side.
It's not a bad thing if it rolls down onto a flatter lie. Only person today who is bogey-free so far is Robert McIntyre. Hasn't had a bogey in 13 holes. The only one. That's how tough it is.
Well, the last 2 holes are really going to play tough for these guys. It's playing really long. Minwoo Lee, you need to keep this one down.
Good swing there. Still found the rough though. Just so hard to keep it on the short grass.
I mean, do you know how far Minwoo Lee's ball's gone there?
I'm going to say 250.
It's gone absolutely nowhere. Normally carries about 315. It just shows the pure brute of this wind right now.
Matt Wallace just swinging within himself today, just not trying to overpower the course, smoothing it along, which is the best way to go out there when it's blowing this hard. Ease it round.
The final round of the Genesis Scottish Open for 2023. Things keep changing at the top of the leaderboard. Tyrrell Hatton's dropped one, but he's tied alongside Bob McIntyre, the Scotsman. Rory McIlroy's dropped one, back at 11 under par alongside Tommy Fleetwood. It's just so hard to make a move. And our 2 leaders are 4 under par for the round. They've got the best rounds of the day going. Will 11 under par be the winning score?
Can tell you just looked at the laptop. McIntyre's just birdied.
Which hole? 14.
Just birdied 14, made 2 at 14.
So he's 13 under.
He's 13 under, 1 in the lead. The crowd's going to start getting hysterical. Scottish player leading the Genesis Scottish Open.
15's downwind. It's a
Yep.
driver wedge. 16's a par 5, even though it's into the wind. It's a par 5.
Yep. Wow.
I do think, like as mentioned earlier, he's won twice, but I do think last week, messing up the finish, he's not going to do that 2 weeks in a row.
Nope.
He's been playing well. Put yourself in contention often enough, and you'll get across the line. And there'd be no, you couldn't, apart from a major championship, obviously,
Yeah.
he wouldn't script up anything better than a Scottish Open victory.
No, can you imagine how much it would mean to him? Wow.
Xander Schauffele there at 4 under par. He was 9 under earlier today. Sebastian Soderberg, tough day for the Swede. All these players struggling in the conditions, understandably. Dale Whitnell, a winner for the first time last month at the Scandinavian Mixed. But Rob McIntyre has just birdied 14, so he's now 13 under 1 ahead of Tyrrell Hatton. Rory McIlroy, overnight leader, that means he's 2 behind. Tommy Fleetwood, all pars today.
I did make a mistake. Tommy Fleetwood also is bogey free today. He's had 10 straight pars. My mistake. Wow. 90 over par. Against 288 under par on the back 9.
Which makes Justin Thomas's performance today even more mesmerising. The fact that he's 2 under on the front 9, 3 over on the back 9.
Wow. You know, you expect a bit of a difference between 9s, but that's unbelievable.
378 strokes difference.
Unbelievable.
Minwoo Lee's hit his drive 262 yards. I mean, given he normally carries it 315, you can just tell how big of a difference it makes.
Well, he's hit his driver, Incy, 128 yards shorter than his 3 would on the previous hole.
It's just crazy out here. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, it's even more of a dispersion with JT, isn't it, Incy? If it's 255 that he's hit his tee shot.
That's how far I can hit it.
428.
No wind.
That's 173 yards difference for JT.
Well, I'm glad you can count, Ewan. 152 yards to go, tucked away on the right. 162, my bad. It's pretty difficult to hear out here.
Well, that's probably a 1-iron given the conditions. Well, it's getting a bit silly, but the fact that Bob McIntyre is 5 under in these conditions.
Quite scary, really. 3 birdies and an eagle on 10. Going like a train is Bob. Well, in ideal position, Justin Thomas and Matt Wallace. 140, 147.
This is at least a 4, if not bordering a 5 club wind. It's getting seriously strong out here right now. Anything short left, there's a bit of a false front. Pin high right, you've got that pot bunker as well. You're much better off going long here. It'll be a real struggle to go that far past.
So Incy said it's a 4 or 5 club win, 147. That's wedge, maybe a soft 9 normally. So that's got to be 6, maybe a 5.
Oh, at least a 5.
Whatever he hit, he needed one more.
That's what I'm saying. It's so difficult to go past the pin. I mean, it's easy for me to say because I'm standing pin high. All these balls just flying in. It's almost going backwards in the air. Obviously, by clubbing up so much, it flattens the flight, but it also reduces the spin. Matt Wallace from 140 yards. I play this as a 190 shot, at the very least. On a slight uphill slope, probably a 5-iron, but if anything, could chip a 4.
And he's been very good at hitting the soft ones into the wind today. Look at that. Restricted backswing, restricted follow through.
Oh, beauty.
That's a stunning golf shot.
A lot to learn from that one.
You know, often in the wind you'll see a lot of amateurs, they think they're going to hit a softer shot. They'll still make a full backswing, and the only thing you can do then is decelerate. All of these guys, you just see the backswing gets a little restricted. They keep accelerating, but it's a controlled acceleration. Take a club more, hit it a little softer, keep the spin off it. That's the goal. Good afternoon, young man.
You know, after Rasmus Højgaard won last week, I was chatting to him about the amount of young kids that were out there. There were thousands of them. Rasmus Højgaard, Rasmus Højgaard, all screaming. And he said, you know, it was only a few years ago that I was here watching the same tournament with my brother, and we were inspired by all the pros that we saw. And all these kids that you see out here watching, every chance that they'll be vying for this title in a few years' time.
Absolutely. It's just great to see, isn't it? It's great to see. It's great for the game. You're heavily involved, Ewan, with the junior series in Australia, which personally I think is just a wonderful thing.
It's very, very rewarding. There's no question about it. And I think the more playing opportunities you can give, the more pathways that you can provide for players. You know, there's certainly a great relationship where I'm from in Australia between us and the DP World Tour, and I know a lot of Australians aspire to play in Europe, and if you can help fast track those, you know, those opportunities, those chances, well, the better for everyone.
We suspected Justin Thomas would catch the pot bunker in the bottom of it, but what a face, what a deep lip. Minwoo Lee to go first. What's he fancying here? Pitch and putt, would you bump and run, Incy, or is he going to go a bit more loft?
He pretty much needs to pitch just about 5 yards onto the green. It all trickles downhill, will break off the left as well. Strikes everything though.
He's elected to carry it a little further, and it was a fine choice.
Magical shot.
Beauty.
Been a really good grind today from Minwoo Lee. I mean, we're watching the best players in the world. They're all sort of even par, 1 over par for the round. The fact that McIntyre and Hatton are 5 and 4 under, it's just mind-boggling. Thomas, look how low his hands are. That helps propel the ball up into the air.
I can just about see the top of his head. Looks like no one's been in this bunker all day. Needs to lob it up. It should stop dead.
Great shot.
Links sand. Oh, it's just magical.
Pot bunkers are the best, aren't they? Because they really are hazards, how they were intended to be.
Yep. Spot on. until you get up the face of one at St Andrews, you think, what a silly idea this is. Shouldn't have been there in the first place. That revetting. Love revetted bunkers.
This isn't easy. It's still going to ask for quite a bit for this to go in. It's downhill, it's going to be quick, it's down breeze, breaking off his left as well. Just requires a delicate touch. It's seriously gusty too, so combine a downhill putt with some gust isn't a pleasant combination.
Tony, has there been a birdie on 8 yet today?
I will tell you in half a second. 2.
This for a third. Oh.
Well, when you think it's the third hottest hole, averaging 4.37, that's a very good par anyway. Not too many holes playing under par today, my goodness.
Even the downwind holes, a lot of these players are struggling with. Saw Matt Wallace make 6 on 10. Thomas made 6 on 10. Wallace made 6 on 3. This for a par at the 8th for Thomas. 1 over par on his round. Not that he's putted poorly this week, Justin Thomas, but I want to see him go back to conventional grip. Just don't think the cross-handed suits him.
Got a gust there, didn't he, when he hit that? Just shoved it left. Yeah, I'm with you. I thought he always looked brilliant with an orthodox putting grip. But, you know, you lose your putting goes off. You do search for answers. He might go back to orthodox. You know, he might do this for a while and think, quite fancied the way I putted my whole life. It felt more comfortable.
Even par in his round from Min Woo Lee. He's made some good par saves. This would be another one.
And he does look comfortable with the cross-hander, doesn't he?
Yeah, like that finger down the grip as well. Beautifully done.
One more hole, boys. One more hole. You can do it.
Final round of the Genesis Scottish Open for 2023, the third of 5 Rolex Series events on the season. Bob McIntyre, the Scotsman, 5 under on his round. He leads Hatton and McIlroy, who's just birdied 11 by 1 stroke. Scotty Scheffler's also picked up a shot. Tommy Fleetwood, 12 pars today. And the final hole for our feature group of Wallace, Thomas and Lee, the 9th hole, the par 3. Even though they've moved the tee up some 50, 60 yards today, it's still a beast. Flag in the back right. Average proximity to the hole, 66 feet from 172.
Yeah, give us a nice, easy par 3 to finish the day. Finish a tough week. No. It's the second hardest hole on the course.
I hope they've got a few straitjackets in the locker room.
Oh, my goodness. But as hard as this has been, you know, if they have a proper wind blowing at Hoylake next week, these guys will actually appreciate this down the line, because they all will have learned something today. However much links golf they've played, it just fires up the memories, doesn't it? How to get around a links course in in hard wind.
There's such a dispersion between playing these golf courses in calm conditions versus windy conditions. And the same really can't be said for everywhere, because if you go and play golf, certainly in the United States, when it gets windy, okay, it might be one at the most 2 clubs difference, but the scoring average for a golf course is probably going to vary by 1, maybe 1.5 at the most. Here, you know, today might be a 4 or 5 stroke difference, and you're looking at a 4 or 5 club difference on every hole.
No question.
Wallace and Thomas both 1 over par on the round. Minwoo Lee even on the day. There's been a lot of waiting going on for this trio today. Richie Ramsey, Dale Whitnell, Garrick Higo in the group in front, finishing up their round. Tyrrell Hatton's made a bogey at 16, the par 5. Very disappointing. Could that crucify his chances of a 5th Rolex Series victory? Bob McIntyre, the Scotsman, he leads by 1 at 13 under par. There's been some good performances today. Grant Forrest, Ewan Ferguson, the Scots around in 68 and 69 respectively. Nick Taylor, the Canadian Open champion, top 20 for him, 6 under par. Eric Cole started the day 10 under, he's 4 over on the round. Callum Hill got it to 8 under par earlier today, finished at 5 under. Alexander Bjork was also 8 under par and finished at 4 under. Ricky Fowler going backwards today. Padraig Harrington, the 53-year-old, 4 under par. Do you genuinely think that Harrington will get a pick for the European side, Tony?
Probably not, if I'm absolutely honest. I think he'd be a good pick, because he'd be a good man in the team room, certainly. But, you know, I think the plan really is to start blooding younger players for future Ryder Cups.
Is there a real left field pick that you think might get a look in? One that players, or perhaps we're not looking at the moment or talking about too much?
Good question. Probably will be. There's normally one. But I know certainly up against that American squad, you want your absolute strongest field, because they are going to have a dynamic team. They want to prove that they can win on this side of the pond again.
There's a young Swede who was world #1 amateur that... Ludvig Aberg. Oh yeah, that's how most players feel about these conditions, and that's how he feels about the slow play out here.
That was a young Tyrrell Hatton. Oh, sadly, I'm just having a look. Tyrrell's saying that he's just had a bogey to go back to 11 under.
Yeah, the par 5 16 could have crucified his chances, because 17 18 you make pars, you're doing very well.
Still not over though. It's a long way to go. Lots of tough holes.
Check that stat out, Tony. He's hit 10 greens today, which sounds just okay in these conditions, but only once has he been inside 10 feet, which means it's just been a grind to try and make pars on nearly every hole.
You can hit good shots all day long and never get inside 60 feet in this sort of wind. I know, you know, Nick Price, I always said to him, why didn't you play better at St Andrews? And he said because in his mind he wasn't a great long putter, and at St Andrews when the wind blew, you could hit good shots all day long and always be 60 feet away. And there's one of the best strikers that's ever lived saying that. Up ahead, just moving out.
Well, it's go time, and the final hole as well. I think I've got about a big brain freeze coming on.
I don't blame you. 5 hours out there in those conditions.
172 yards. I mean, you'll do very well to finish pin high. It's playing at least 220 yards, and you don't want to miss this green out to the right. And for Min Woo Lee, carries his 4-iron at least 231. I mean, that's got to be the club at least. It's a 1 o'clock breeze, and the wind's only got stronger.
Try.
Clubs more.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's had quite a few of those today when he's tried to keep it down there. I think he's just hands just slightly ahead every time and losing it right. Every time he's just about, it's gone out right.
Guys on the path.
Just look straight at me. 2 seconds. Thank you.
This man's been pretty impressive by clubbing up and able to take the spin off the ball, and he's been probably the best out of the group, I'd say, in controlling his ball flight and spin with his iron play. Just needs to do it one more time.
Agree with that. And see, he's played them beautifully, hasn't he? That little 3/4 backswing, 3/4 follow through. Will he do it again? Yes. Just keeping spin off it.
Oh, wow.
Oh. Stay there.
What a shot.
Yeah, some of the shots that he's hit today, especially on the par threes. Remember the shot that he hit on 14 earlier today?
Brilliant, brilliant.
I don't know if you can see that in slow motion, but it looked like that partially went in the hole.
Oh! That was within a whisker of a slam dunk.
Justin Thomas eyeing this one up. Probably very clear to see from Min Woo Lee's shot. You don't quite get the clubbing right. It's going to stall up in the breeze and come up way short. You got those pop bunkers there, and as soon as it starts stalling, it comes in a bit more vertically and you can get plugged. So you need to be careful of that. So club up and aim a little bit left.
Another one that's just knifed through the wind for Thomas. He loved that too. He was casting his eye on that, thought it was going to be very good.
Identical to what Joost Luiten did. Oh, wow. Look at the leaderboard. Final round of the Genesis Scottish Open. Another birdie for Bob McIntyre, and he's got the par 5 16th to come.
You were so right. That experience last week where he let it slip at the end, I think it's motivated him and he's learned from it.
Could be round of the season right now in these conditions. No one else better than 3 under par today. He's 6.
Without a bogey.
Par 5 to come. Ryan Fox even par on the round. It's been a great fight back from the Kiwi. He was 3 over par early on. Oh, Corey Connors, I lied. He's now 4 under par for the round. Moved up to a share of 21st. And Garrick Higo, Tony, 3 over par through 9 yesterday. Good fight back from the South African.
Yeah, nice to see him back in form. He's had a bit of a dry spell, bit of a drought really with his golf. Eric Cole not having his best day. He's played so well all week, but I think the wind's got to him. Ricky Fowler 3 over today. Sort of thought he'd be happier in this wind. And sadly, Todrick Harrington 4 over. It's been brilliant watching his progress this week. And we know he loves the win, but today, not his day.
Tyrrell Hatton has made 6 on both par 5s on the back 9. And made 5 on the 13th that you can drive. So the 3 birdie holes, he's bogeyed the back 9.
That stings. Really stings.
Quiet please, guys.
40% chance for a bogey if you miss it left. Well, where else do you go?
Well, it's Minwoo Lee up first. And I can't see him. These revetted faces are pretty tall, and this one's at least 8 feet high, I would say. Splashing this out, straight back into the breeze.
Caught it a little heavy.
All right.
Yay.
Oh.
No. I don't know what he expected the caddy to say. He's going to say, no, you've underhit it way short. On the upslope, he was trying to carry that all the way to the hole. Didn't quite do it. Now, it's been real fun watching Justin Thomas play a huge variety of shots around the greens today.
And Tony, there's no real easy way to play this. There's a little clump of grass behind this ball, which only makes me think he has to get steep on this, landing it on the uphill slope, and then everything works away from you, so this is really tricky to judge.
Look where he's got that ball. Outside the right foot. Trying to come in steep. Sharp. Bounce it up over that hump.
Yeah.
And you know what? I doubt he could have done an awful lot better than that. That's a good shot.
And unlike the other shots that he's played along the ground, that one was with a sand wedge. But he kind of had to, because he had to carry quite a bit of rough before he got to the shorter grass. But he played that one, remember, on 13 earlier today from 50 yards when he used a 5-iron.
Now he's shown great imagination, and that will stand him in good stead at the Open Championship. That is for sure.
Matt Wallace just on a bit of a side slope here, so it's definitely going to kick to the left. It's downwind as well. It's going to be quick as soon as it hits that putting surface. Can't imagine many birdies here on number 9.
Tony, how many birdies on number 9 today?
Having a little look. A grand total of 0.
There you go, Incy. This for the first one.
He hasn't had a birdie for 12 holes. Oh, this would be nice, but no.
So between holes, what was it, the second? Holes 2, 8 and 9, there's been a combined 4 birdies.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. That's true.
2 on 2, 2 on 8, 0 on 9. Another job for you.
Quite a test.
Scoring, I might be able to do it myself. Scoring average today, 71.6, or no, it's just gone down to 71.4. Compared to the other days, I don't have the other days in front of me, but it was around 68.5 to 69. So 2.5, 3 shots harder out there today. I thought it would have been more, to be honest.
Yeah, I did too, actually. It's
Mind you, there's still a lot of players out there 4 or 5 over for the round to come in.
with these tough finishing holes. 8 and 9 to come. He's just not comfortable, is he, Minwoo Lee? It gets to you in the end.
This would be a good up and down, Tony, to finish in a round of level par 70.
Oh,
I think he thought he'd
Did
miss
you
that.
see the wind blow his putter head
He,
there?
he hit the top half of the golf ball then, the top equator of the ball.
And the putter head was all over the place in the wind. That's good work from Minwoo Lee.
Justin Thomas, 3 over par through 9. 1 under on this side. He's grounded out. This for a round of 72. Bring on Hoylake, he says.
I think his game's ready. He'll sharpen up his putting, but I think his game is ready.
He's got a point to prove in the majors this year. 2 missed cuts and a 65th. Very unusual for Thomas, who thrives in the big championships. 1 over today for Matt Wallace. Hit some really high quality shots out there. Near ace at 14. It's been an absolute pleasure, Tony Johnstone. Thank you very much for your company over the last 4 days.
Oh, it has been fun, yeah. Links golf at its finest.
It's the best, isn't it? Well, it's certainly going to be an exciting finish to the Genesis Scottish Open for 2023. Bob McIntyre, a 2-shot lead over Rory McIlroy with just 3 holes to play.
It is the final day of the season on the LPGA Tour. So much on the line, and it will not be easy. The wind is up here. Tiburon Golf Club in Naples, Florida. The CME Group Tour Championship. Season-long race in the top 60 from that, making it into the field this week. Terry Gannon, Morgan Pressel, and the crew watching Lydia Ko at 15 under try to grab sole possession. Again, how many times have we watched that over the first 3 days, Morgan?
Her putting stroke has just been nearly flawless. It's fun to watch.
Started with a bogey, as she did on day 1, and then shot 65. So a couple of birdies since to 16 under par. Up by 1 over Leona Maguire. The 27-year-old from Ireland went to Duke, got her first win on tour earlier this season. Then 2 players at 10 under. Final day, $2 million to the winner. They arrived at the starting line 11 months ago. An open track. The weight of goals and expectations hanging in the air. For some, a resurgence to former glory.
Lydia Ko is looking better than ever.
For others, the hardest setbacks they've ever encountered.
I didn't think I'd ever play again, but here I am.
And for the rookie teenager, an incredible climb to world number 1.
A tie attempt. The phenom has done it again.
Until one of the game's established stars took back the spot last week.
Nelly Korda, world number 1.
They've flown across the world to prove themselves, competing on 3 continents, 9 countries, 12 states. Lydia Ko was lightning fast out of the blocks, opening a sizable lead heading into the weekend. But a Solheim Cup star, Leona Maguire, made a Saturday surge with a 9-under-63 to pull even. With a second straight Bear Trophy in hand, Ko now looks to cap a 2022 campaign with a second Rolex Player of the Year award and the largest prize in women's golf. As the wind whips on the final day, the finish line is in sight in this year's race to the CME Globe. NBC Sports and the LPGA Tour proudly present the culmination of the season-long race to the CME Globe. From Naples, Florida, it's final round coverage of the CME Group Tour Championship. Tiburon Golf Club here in Naples, just about 4 miles from the Gulf of Mexico. We saw sunshine the last couple of days, but cloudy today. Do expect some rain. The top names in the game gathering here, and the fans coming out to watch the best of the best from the season-long race. Yeah, those are the conditions. So it is blowing about 18, 19 miles per hour consistently and gusting to 25, make it up even to 30 miles per hour this afternoon. Temperature not in the 70s. There's been rain, plenty of rain around us, but just some light showers so far. Could come into play, though, as they settle it here the final day at Tiburon. Terry Gannon, Morgan Pressel checking out the highlights. So you've got Lydia Ko, who had an early bogeyed one, but this lengthy putt here at 3.
How we've talked all week about how hard the start of this golf course is. Anytime you can make a birdie on one of the first 5 holes, you feel like you're stealing one from the field.
Trying to win for the 19th time. Leona Maguire trying to win for the 2nd time. This for birdie at 4.
Again, another brutal hole straight into the wind. Beautiful stroke.
She would bogey 5. Lydia Ko. This is how difficult it is. The par 5-6. Most people taking advantage of that through the week. This is her 4th from the bunker, but a beauty.
Missed the fairway left. We're going to have to watch that the rest of the day. We saw that come up yesterday on 17, but recovered nicely.
Scrambled for par, and so did Maguire here at 6. Made so many putts yesterday. 63 for her yesterday to charge up the leaderboard. But Ko, what we just saw a short time ago, I mean, time and again. You know how great she was as a young teenager in 2014-15, playing just like that once again. So Morgan and I in the booth. Also Tom Abbott, Karen Stupples, Paige McKenzie out on the golf course. Amy Rogers to talk to the players when they are done. Take you out to the play at the 9th and Tom.
And Lydia Ko on the tee, a very difficult hole. Let's see how Lydia fare here.
Well, your initial thoughts are that the fairway is wide open, but with this wind direction kind of on the player's left shoulder, makes it more challenging. There is some helping wind in it. There's a bunker on the right that does come into play.
She's a little concerned about the bunker.
It was close. Too close for comfort.
4 of the years that they've played here, this has been the hardest hole on the golf course. A little easier this week, but still takes some attention. And there's the bunker that Lydia came very close to driving it into. Now Leona.
Really steady with this club yesterday, in fact all week. But the same challenge that is facing her, the bunker will come into play again. No stress with that one.
Yeah, a little further away from the sand. You can see Lydia's ball there just on the left, so she was a lot tighter down the right side. And we'll go ahead on the golf course to the 14th.
The par 5, Celine Boutier got off to a great start, was 5 under on the round through 8 holes. Few bogeys since. Yeah, really nice. So we'll pick up that birdie with the tap in. Go back to 8 under par, but this is how we stand. Those two at the top, and they started at 15 under, 5-shot separation overnight, and that's where it is right now between 2nd and 3rd place. Anna Nordquist, 3-time major champ, in the top 3, but it's Ko and Maguire, those two of the last 3 in that final group. underway. The final day of the season here on the LPGA Tour. Should be interesting to watch and see how challenging it gets to with the win. But those two, let's break down that matchup between those two. I know it's not just about those two, but Lydia Ko approaching Hall of Fame numbers. She's trying to win for the 19th time. Leona Maguire broke through with a win earlier this season. How do you see that?
Well, they're in two totally different places in their careers, but they're both exceptionally accomplished amateurs, wonderful golfers. They have the whole game. And I think the thing that stands out between the two